What's up, guys? Before we get into this VOD review, I want to apologize. I know it's been like 2-3 weeks since my last upload. I don't really have like a set upload schedule, but I do want to at least try to probably get out like a video a week of like whatever. It's not always going to be Apex Academy content. It might just be Apex, or it could even be another game for all I know. But I do want to do at least like one video a week, so I apologize. I've had a lot going on in the past month or so, but now my schedule is definitely a lot more clear. Should be getting a lot more of the videos out. Despite my lack of uploading, I do have a total of 4 videos that'll be coming out, all probably within a week or two, all depending on how quickly we can get them out. 2 of them are already done. One is this one, and the one is the Overpowered and RPR's tournament run in Twitch Rivals as well last month. I do apologize. This video and the next video are going to be from like a tournament that was like a month old, but I figured they're already recorded, might as well just bang them out, throw them out there, and see if people want to watch that anyway. The other 2 that I have at least already done recorded, or streamed rather, are TSM from the most recent ALGS online tournament, which I'm really excited to throw out on YouTube. That was a really fun one to watch. And Sola Fide Esports, which is a newer org entering into the scene, but the players have been here for quite some time. They are one of my former teammates, Turns, Metro, and Pride. They took second in the online tournament, so that one was also a fun one to watch a little bit. But anyways, let's get on with this video. This is going to be the Nicewigg and ImMadness Twitch Rivals tournament video. I had a blast watching this one, to be honest. Part of it was because if you followed CLG at all, when it was Madness, Wig, and No Cocoa Puffs, I think they were one of the community's just favorite teams, just from their personalities. But it seemed, if you followed their streams at all, that they seemed to not really get along as well, and you kind of hate to see that. So this VOD was actually really fun to watch because it showed Madness and Wig not only playing very well together, but just overall vibing super well. It seemed like they were really getting along, and it was nice to see. Typically, I like to do the perspectives from the IGL or in-game leader, which I think was Wig. It seemed to be Wig in this regard. But this time I chose to do Madness's perspective because he was the overall tournament kill leader. I think he had 21 kills in the entire tournament, which is more than anybody. So a bit of an action-packed perspective. Again, keep in mind, this isn't the most competitive tournament. It's not all full pro teams. There's a lot of creators that don't play Apex as much. But again, like the other videos, I do think there are some things you can still look at and learn and whatnot. So it should be fun. Hope you guys enjoy it.
100%. Looks like it might be a back wall.
Alright.
Yeah, I know. We're good. Don't worry.
So we already know where a lot of these circles are gonna go.
No, we're good.
I'm not gonna talk about them like too much. I'm more gonna talk about the position that they choose to take.
Blue bolt.
So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Obviously they got gifted. They got gifted circle here pretty hard.
I'm taking flatline. I'm just gonna stay with Madness now.
Okay. So wait, you think it's pulling here?
I think so too, on there, for sure.
This is a good call from Wig. It does typically tend to pull there.
Do you want to check the caves?
Again, I'm not going to talk too much about the circle. This is the, I think I didn't get to watch the end of it in Lose game because I just fast forwarded to the next game. But it's probably going to, I think it's the one that ends somewhere around here.
Now, what a cute.
Oh, Madness is really a sleeper, to be fair. I think most people, I think in terms of a lot of the other pros that were like picked, I think Madness is a sleeper. I think Madness is good.
How many more do you have?
I think I can get more. I can get 3 more.
No,
he's definitely like, he's not like going to be like what a lot of people deem as like a first
7,
pick.
8, 9, 10.
But
then do one more from this
I do
corner
think
to that
he
corner.
is better than most people give him credit to be.
No,
Madness is definitely a good player.
Fine.
I think he was one of the most cracked on CLG when they played
I don't
together.
have a long one anymore here.
So I think we're good.
They are, so they are, again, I'm not going to talk too much about the circles because most of that was detailed in the last video. Let's see what I'm doing. I'm prepping for YouTube. But they are probably in the best spot. I actually did not see the end circle for this circle because Lou's team died before I could actually like watch it, and I just skipped to the next game. But ideally, this circle lately has been pulling hard, like just in the center here, like right around here. So their team is actually in absolutely such a good spot for this.
Everyone's wrong. Yeah, we're good.
Probably pulling here, possibly. So either way, I'm happy with this rotate.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're hard chilling. They don't have to move.
Team was in here is
Wig scrims all the time. They know this circle. They don't have to move.
He's
Again,
this right
I
corner
don't
right
know the end circle.
If I was really,
Like most of these teams that are top teams are only that not I don't want to say only that good, but are mainly that good because they have a strong IGL. There's so many people that
It could pull south.
There's so many teams I have watched
on the straight
and a couple I've already VOD reviewed where
Team back.
a lot of my common complaints for them is just there's no leadership. Like leadership is literally what
Good. I literally
separates a
They don't
lot of
seem to
these
have
top
any
teams
nades,
from
or
each
else they
other,
would've
and that's it. Like everyone's cracked to a
They could
degree.
have
They
nades. They
can
don't
win
want to
team fights.
waste.
They
There's
can
no
win.
point
They
to
can
waste. They have
calm.
their one door.
They can rotate. It's
Okay,
just
that makes sense.
the leadership
Does anybody have more
on
than one battery?
everyone being on the same page.
I have one battery. That's it.
Let's go.
You can
baby,
never
good
work out
calls,
full team
Wig.
IGL,
this is a
full
huge
team
call,
IGL
Wig,
each
man.
other, like bouncing
All
ideas
you
off
heard
each other
one
instead of having one
Pathfinder.
person IGL.
It's gonna be a
No.
fantastic resolution.
Stop
Because then you end up
poking me.
having a lot of people like for macro get calls in like early to mid game, sure, but micro or at the end when shit hits the fan, you need a single voice. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you have
I'm
everybody
memorizing
off doing their own. And this is actually why, and I highlighted this actually in my NRG ALGS video era, this is why I think NRG isn't. I don't think NRG is playing at their max potential because a lot late game comes and a lot of Frex's calls aren't terribly respected, and it turns into a lot of everyone doing their own thing. And you have to, like, fundamentally as a team, you have to have one person whose calls are respected above everyone else's. Not saying like their calls are the ones that are right. That doesn't matter as much. It has to be the person that everyone respects enough to listen to, just no matter if it's a good or bad call. Because a bad call can be made good if your whole team sticks to it. But it's the second in BRs, especially in squad BRs, it's the second that you start to be hesitant and start to be all over the place doing your own thing. That's what gets you killed. So for the macro calls, yeah, I mean everybody kind of bounces ideas off each other, but in the late game, you need to have one singular IGL, or you need to have the team environment where one call can be made by anyone and somebody listens to it, right? There is that general level of respect between everybody on the team where, you know, say like Hal might be like the late game shot caller for TSM, but like if Max sees a call, you know, they'll go by it. And Max is like, there has to be zero questioning. Just fucking make the call and go. That's what separates the men from the boys in the late game, where it all really matters. Yes.
I got a piece so bad.
Like there's
like,
there are so many teams I've watched that are like lesser like than the top,
yeah, it's not really worth poking out people's
where
defensive
their
calls.
faults are from leadership, and it's not necessarily the IGL's fault. It's more also like it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like the IGL needs to command the respect for his team to listen to him, but at the
Yeah,
same
let's go,
time,
Larry.
those teammates also need to give that
Is it based on
respect.
placement and kills? Both.
And
The
this is
fun
where I was
part's
talking
gonna
about like
come soon.
coaching. I
This
think
is-
it can offer that
Boring,
mediator.
but
No,
it's
I'm
boring,
enjoying
but
it.
you're
rather be the
guaranteeing.
mediator.
We're guaranteeing.
They are that unbiased third opinion where they are the mediator to when teams think they did, like when one player might be like, no, I was the one that was right, and the other was like, no, I was the one that was right. This is where coaches thrive. It can be hard to work out these issues with just a team of three. I've
Okay, then I'll make
seen
note
that
of
like
So
a
basically,
lot
your
by
bubble will be the last
by virtue
bubble.
of just being within a lot of these
And then that's gonna push them
VOD
into
reviews
Destiny
and
Hot
working
Fight.
with the team right now, and knowing and my own personal team struggles. Like I've been there
We'll
too,
comment.
right?
We'll
It's not like
comment.
I haven't.
Me and Wig are very
already.
vocal. We'll say fight it,
Nado,
fight
thanks
it,
for
don't
the,
fight it, don't fight
follow.
it.
What?
All right, so the circle definitely is hard closing on them somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold the door.
Not much to really talk about here at this point. Like, I'm just kind of like
Rat right
watching.
here. Rat
Like,
right here.
they're holding the spot in the circle.
Nice,
There's usually
shit.
not much to talk about. Good
Nice,
pick.
point.
Big pick.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
We
holding
got a
north,
fuck.
I'm holding north,
Nicewigg gets a fucking devotion delivered to him,
No,
man.
you're good. Stay there. You're good.
Staying in,
I can pour it and confirm his kills.
No, not worth it. There's two teams
Okay.
over there.
All right.
You're good.
Conservative
Nades
call.
out on him, see
It's
if
not a
maybe we can
bad
get
call
it.
from Madness to try to do that, but again, that's that
Yeah.
respect, right?
I'm looking through the door. It doesn't look like anyone's pushing us into the
Shit.
side.
That's that respect I'm talking about. Like, Wig is the IGO here. Madness already started his portal, but he holds to wait to make sure Nicewigg says it's okay. Like, Madness, I'm sure Madness could have gone over there and been okay, especially with gold armor, but that's that respect I'm talking about, is like setting your ego aside and just fully trusting somebody else to make all the calls on the shots. It's very difficult for a lot of teams to do, and this is what separates the best from the okay. There's a lot of really good teams out there, but I'm telling you, if you watch any of the really good teams VODs and then like the lesser team VODs, I'm telling you, you'll find a lot of discrepancies in the leadership and the leadership being respected. So,
There's a rat out here, dead.
very good
him.
for Madness to just allow
Box
just to be like
flew out of the fucking
Yeah,
air.
so-
Oh, that's a gold
very
box
good on
there.
Madness right there.
So funny.
To just like that's a good team dynamic right there. That's a
He's
strong
just hitting
team
on the
dynamic.
open here.
The
Going
zone
down.
pulled weird as fuck. You'll see. I mean, it can honestly be. I've seen it end
Dropping.
in so many different fucking places here. Like at this point, it's
Oh,
like
they're
you would
right-
expect
they-
it to
the
be
team
here,
over there
right?
that's
It's right in the
back
middle,
here is
but it
pushing.
could literally
Oh,
be
yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
here.
No, he's. I don't know where they're going, but it looks like they're trying to push to our room.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right,
yeah,
so
we're going
now
to
that it's
speed.
actually getting to the point where we're getting a little bit of bread and butter. Obviously, like there's not too much to talk about necessarily. They're not going to be getting any contention from the south, so they need to look. They're doing exactly what they need to do. They need to be looking just both from the cave, make sure they're not getting like portaled on in the little box that's out here. They need to make sure over here. They need to be looking over here to get any easy kill points like they got on PvPX. And they basically just need to make sure everything. They just need to control everything around them.
Cracked underneath again. Cracked
I
underneath
saw that. I saw that. Good shit.
Madness, do you have any light ammo or no?
I have 150.
Never mind.
I hope that wasn't Wig popping off the
Almost back at
Devo.
Pathfinder in height.
The thing about the new Devo that's actually, sorry to pause again. The thing about the new Devo that's actually really rough is like the Devo is such a strong fucking weapon, but it's similar to like Kraber. I don't find if you can't get a kill with it, I feel like there's absolutely no reason to use it. You're wasting it at that point. In terms of like this, where like you're not moving or you're not looking for any openings, you're kind of just trying to fuck teams over. It's just wasted ammo. It sucks. You have to treat the Devo like a Kraber almost, where you only need to use it in situations where I think he was popping off with the Devo there. You only need to use it in situations where it will grant you an opening, because otherwise it's just wasted. There's no reason to pick at people with the Devo. You're wasting the value of it.
Oh, they're gonna stay.
Brain's hurt.
In front of me, looking.
It is free damage, but what's free damage gonna do for you, Ira?
Here. Hard fighting.
They have no reason to move. They're not looking for an opening. Like Kraber is an opening weapon. Kraber is a big playmaker. You use the Kraber when you need to make a rotation or when you need to stop a team from rotating. That's the gun that finds the opening for it, right? You don't for example, you don't just tag people with Kraber just to do damage, unless you want that team gone. You know, like if someone's up here and you have a Kraber or a Devo, it's pointless to just poke at them, right? So, it looked like nobody else was shooting at the guy that Wig was shooting at. Again, I don't have Wig's perspective, but if he was shooting a Devo right there, it's kind of a little bit wasted.
Right in front of you.
Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, I can't see.
Yeah, it looked like he was just
I don't know
poking.
much.
In that case,
We should third party this for
Not 50
KP.
damage?
I think we should third party KP.
so right here wouldn't be a bad idea because there's two teams committing
No,
to each other.
There's like 3 teams over there. It's not worth it. Everyone's dying.
All right.
Ah!
Cheers,
Board for
chat.
it. Here.
Yeah, pour. It's a good pour.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm going.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Getting ready.
This is a good
Above
part.
you, Madness, above you.
Yeah.
Now?
Well,
I'm taking
we'll
it,
see.
I'm
Actually,
taking
we'll
it.
see if it's a good
Going
port.
in.
Knocked one. Dead. Coming back through. Full heal.
Is he gonna get them points? Yes.
I'm full healing. You guys are alone. Just so you know.
So
I'm coming back to you.
Portal's a 3-minute cooldown without helmet. Here's why. Again, I don't know how this plays out. So this port could have been bad because they might need it for this rotation. They don't have to go far, and there's a lot. Like even though I wish the map was more accurate, I wish you could like see what's going on with the map. Because like even though this map is just like to the uninitiated Apex eye, you look at this map and just be like, all right, well you can't fucking play anywhere there. So it's just, but like there's actually a lot of playable terrain here. A lot of like ducks and dives and dips and ditches. But so they probably won't need portal. This could screw them in the end of the day. We don't know. I don't know yet though.
Going back.
We shall see. JT, thanks for
Yeah,
the
he
follow.
has purple armor and he already armor swapped.
For those that don't know,
on,
portal
I'm
is a
gonna see if I can
3-minute
get
cooldown
straps.
with no helmet.
Yeah.
But this could get them, yeah. So
I'm good.
this could get them some good shit though, and meds and stuff. Ooh, that's
Good.
scary. Just playing with death right there, Madness.
I would recommend maybe making the portal on a trap next time.
Oh, what's it called? Yo, Macro, you have any? You have an extra ulti accelerant?
Yeah, I have one more.
Yeah, give it Madness. Give me Madness. You need to
Madness, here, Madness.
Need this for your teleport here.
Good call.
We're gonna need
If
you
Macro
to
has
do
Yeah, we need more.
an alt ready, which he probably does,
He's
this is
holding
a
our
good call.
backside here. I think that's worth fighting for.
Well, actually, maybe it's not.
We want to fight this team. We need to.
Because they're not
I
gonna have it
think-
up in time.
Go on the left. Go left for me. Go left for me. Come here.
I'm with you.
Come
I'm with you. I'm with you. We can slow walk this.
Yeah, we can play right here. We can play right behind this rock. We can
Yes,
play right behind
yes,
this rock.
yes, yes. I
I'll
agree.
throw a bubble late. I'll throw a bubble late. I'll throw a bubble late.
No.
Wait, team behind. Team
I
behind.
know.
Yeah, team
Go
there.
with zone. Go with zone. Go with zone.
Zone and I'll throw my bubble late.
We're fine.
Throw my bubble late.
Slow down. We're good. Go when we have to.
Storm's moving.
Wig is definitely on.
You ready? Team's
Wig
gonna
is
be
definitely
flanking here, so we gotta work. We gotta
feeling the
focus
nerves a
killing
bit. I
these
can
kids.
tell.
Alright, I'm throwing a bubble. Throw a bubble now. Throw a bubble now.
Kill this Pathfinder. This Pathfinder's burning flesh. Team fight with me. These teams are fucking destroyed.
Gigs? Wait, Gigs was in this. Gigs used to play for
Nice.
these.
Shoot. I'm in zone. Oh shit.
Big.
We're good.
Such a
No, we're
big
good.
spot
We're good.
right
We're good.
here.
We're good.
Yo, put your ulti down. Put your ulti down behind here.
Wow, it actually
Nice
pulled all the way
job.
to the south there. That's crazy.
Kill this Watson. Kill
I
this
literally-
team right here. Listen.
Crack.
Knock one.
Nice, good shots.
Knocked another. Push up.
Nice.
Push up behind us. Take this. Take this.
Lockdown, got him.
Take.
Take this. Take the spot. Take the spot with me.
I can't.
I couldn't.
You can't.
I couldn't. I had a heal, but my bad.
On my left. No, you're good. Don't see your back. You're good. I need you to put focus on. Focus fire on the madness. Focus on.
I'm looking.
Yo, keep walking. I'm going over here. I need bubble this. I need good armor.
Yep.
Crawling to your bubble.
Got another kill. Dead.
Good shit, man.
Nice. Fucking go.
He's playing this shit so well. He's bullying fucking everybody right now.
I'm doing it.
Yep, you're good.
Yo, please grab ammo. You're giving me anxiety, madness.
I need
Please.
light ammo.
We need to kill these kids behind
I
us.
have
We need
no
to kill
light
these
ammo.
kids
Okay. Push it. Push with DK. I'm
Damn,
going.
there's no light ammo on those boxes. It's kind of crazy, to be honest.
behind us.
22.
100%. Knocked one.
The crack.
Above your madness, somebody. Two out. I'm in Garrett kills.
Nice.
Another
Good
one?
shots.
Falling back to heal.
Yeah, you're good. Watch your right side. You're good.
Yep.
Keep healing. You're good.
He doesn't use the wingman. He does not use the wingman, dude. It's crazy. He like refuses to use that shit. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Okay, I was gonna say, if he actually full squad
so
wipe
much
right there.
damage.
Top 4 and kills. That's huge.
And I got 3 kills. Dude.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
That's a good game.
Nice job.
5 for 2. We got those points. Look at those.
That's a good
points.
game. That's a really solid fucking game.
You can't.
Good shit on them. Hold on.
Attack one. Up.
I need light ammo.
We need to kill these kids behind.
I'm in your
Crack
bubble.
more.
I'm rushing. Yo, armor stop immediately.
I'm doing it.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, I'm out of ammo.
Good job.
So I agree that he needs to kill them. I don't understand I don't understand. Maybe it's because I'm not seeing Wig's perspective.
We need to kill these kids behind
I
us.
have
We need to
no
kill
light
these
ammo.
kids behind us.
I'm not sure why
Push it,
this
push
is
it.
why Wig is very adamant on this. Like it should happen, yes, but like it's not like these guys just got done fighting or anything. There's like, I feel like he's forcing. Like look at this. Look at their health. This is literally less than max just regular health. This is like 80 HP right here. Wig is at less than white armor health. I don't know why he's so. I don't know what Wig is saying that all of a sudden he's so adamant that this has to happen right now. Wig is literally at less than white armor white armor HP. You know, and Macro doesn't even have full just regular HP.
Push with DK. I'm going.
Like this goes so different. Imagine if they all had full health here.
100%.
This goes way differently.
Knocked one.
The crack.
This actually, they win the fight here. They straight up. Madness almost wins it all on his own.
Knocked another.
Yeah,
back
I
to heal?
don't get the urgency in that. I think that was the big misplay there, to be honest. If they all just hid back behind this truck, full healed, and then pushed. I mean, assuming they wanted to push, they did have to make a move eventually because of this circle. Like they have to clear out these teams because they're not getting a smooth ride into the circle. So they had to make a play. I don't see why they couldn't have waited like 5 seconds to heal real quick. That was probably the big one right there. It's not like they haven't fought over there for a while. It's not like they had to. That's probably the big misplay. I mean, overall, really fucking well played though.
It sounds like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They could have all full healed. But still, it's still a big game though.
Ah.
Oh, top 4 though. top
Getting
4,
so
dude.
much
Top
damage.
Top 4 in kills. That's huge.
Still,
And I got
yeah.
3 kills. I got 3 kills, dude.
Let's go, baby.
Macro.
Let's go.
I don't know who this guy is, but I love him already.
Nice job. Good
5
job.
for 2.
Yeah, so that actually is interesting. So you see, like, there's almost like Wig is a really smart player. He has a lot of the right calls in his mind, but I think his sense of urgency is way over bloated. Iron Crown, thanks for the follow. And what I mean by that is like even before, like right there, obviously he made that massive call, like we have to kill these guys, and they go now, right? Like they didn't even full heal. Like I said, Macro wasn't even full red HP. Wig had purple armor, but he was less than white armor's health. So that's one right there. They were like, he was like urgently calling to push that when they didn't need to. They weren't hard pressed. They had to do it eventually, but they weren't hard pressed to do it immediately. The other one was when they were about to leave this house. This is actually a really strong team dynamic that if you are an aspiring team you want to work for. Even though there is like maybe like a prevailing IGL voice, the ability to call out your IGL and tell them to just like chill sometimes is big. Because like honestly, as IGL, because I've been there, I've done it for several of the teams I played for. It's sometimes like you have so much going through your head on how to get your team where you need to get them, and like the things that need to happen, that you kind of like time almost seems faster for you. So right here, like I think this is one of those moments for Wig when he was talking about where they need to play, and he was just like, we gotta go here, we got a dome here, we got a dome here at the rock, we got a dome here, make sure we dome here.
Go with zone. Go with zone. We're fine.
But this is where Madness is kind of calming him down. This is a really good like team dynamic to have. This is actually something very similar to actually like when I played with Decop and GLL. Shiny told me that he thought even though like I might not have carried the team statistically, he said he thinks I was a very important dynamic in that team because there are very few people that are able to call Decop off his bullshit and tell him to stop doing like crazy aggro things and make plays that are unnecessary. And I think it's important to have like that person to balance out the team sometimes. Like they're not hard pressed to make his decision here, so it's not a bad idea for him to just be like, yo, calm down. Just like chill, just play it out like real quick, like we're good. Wig is clearly like his mind's at 1,000 miles per hour right now, and you don't want to make a hasty decision. You don't want to make a hasty decision here when you're rotating, and you don't want to make a hasty decision later, like when you go to push Sentinels or Retzi and Annie's team, which ends up getting them killed. So this is like a big important part of team dynamic.
Go when we have
to be able to like for your team to just be like, yo, chill, we got this. Like, we're good. Let's just go. So this is like a really big thing. And I think this, like, I don't know if it's nerves or if Wig's just super fucking hyped. I mean, he is always hyped. But I think this is like, unfortunately, like, this was probably the crux of their first game, for sure. Wig called that push on that team in the corner.
Ready? Team's gonna
really
be flanking here, so we gotta work
prematurely. Like they didn't need to go that fast. They had at least 5 seconds probably within their window to go.
Pathfinder's burning flesh.
There was no light ammo on the bodies though, Rain. That's unfortunate. Like Madness doesn't pick up the wingman. Period. He makes fun of people that use wingman, and it's not, I think, because of people that use wingman. I think it's just because he doesn't use it. I've played with and against him many times, and he's always like, look at all those wingmans popping off, but he should have picked up the wingman, but I think he's just not comfortable with it. I don't think he likes to use it. But that's the only real analysis I have. I mean, I think it's an important one for sure. Like, a lot of plays are made from, like, it's not like teams don't lose just because they lose fights forehead, because they're not clicking heads forehead. A lot of times people lose fights just because of a bad call or like the IGL rushed it a little bit, and this was definitely one of those cases.
I knocked one.
Nice.
Like I said,
Take
like
this,
obviously Wig is
take the spot with me.
running a lot of nerves right now.
I couldn't.
So it was good. They got Macro up. This was good.
I'm doing it.
Again, here they didn't need to force this push though.
I need light ammo. I have no light ammo. Okay, push it. Push with DK. I'm going. 100%.
Also, it seems like Wig has light ammo. So if Madness has, if Madness had ammo here, these guys are gonna get fucking beamed. Look at this right here.
Knocked one.
Like right here, he only has 1 shell left. I guarantee you, if he had ammo, he would have swapped his R9 a lot sooner and just beamed everybody. So like it was just they'd have to just dial it back a little bit. I don't know if the pressure was getting to him or what, but like don't lose your composure. Dial it back a little bit. Make sure you're all ready to go together. It could be Jamerson, yeah. How can you not play all top tier guns as a pro player? Honestly, Zavia, a lot of people will just play what they're good at. There are a lot of viable guns in this game. Obviously, the late game R9 PK Wingman, like Rain King. But there's a lot of people that like don't use like the Wingman as much, or like just like R9 PK, and there's nothing wrong with that. I agree, you should be like good at every gun to an extent, but yeah. No, I think just their urgency, their unnecessary urgency cost them this game. They could have easily wiped that team. Madness almost did it by himself. He just needed some light ammo, and Wig and Macro just needed some health. It's that simple. All right, that's game 1. Let's move on to game 2. That's still, I mean, all things considered, it's still a solid, very solid first game. It's not a bad idea to open up a tournament round like that. But they could have had 3 more kills and another squad placement on top of that too. It's just like you have to, it's not, like I said, like it's a very fine line, because I was talking about how you want to respect your IGL, you want to respect their calls, but sometimes like it's not, like especially if you have an IGL that's like that is like that, where they make a lot of calls out of urgency rather than just being like calm, level-headed. That team dynamic also is very important, to be able to be there and just be like, yo, like chill, we got this, like just calm down, it's okay, we can do this. Wig was definitely very either nervous or just fucking on like, I've been in his shoes. I'm sure the game for Wig was like racing at like 1,000 miles per hour, right? And he was just trying to be ahead of it. But sometimes it's okay to be just on the same speed.
Game's going to Geyser as well.
All right, game 2.
I think that's lava.
Again, I'm not going to talk too much about the
probably
circles
spraying the lava
because
and
they
dome.
were
Okay, well, I'm gonna take
a
this
lot in
building
the first
with you
video.
again. Do I go opposite?
Wait, on your building? Where?
No, they're on 3 pill. They're pushing on.
Yeah, I see, They're pushing.
Almost cracked on one. Yeah, we need you here. You're here?
Yeah.
Nice.
It cannot be that looted.
I mean, they could be more loot than us for sure.
Heavy ammo.
One shot on Watson.
Nothing bad.
She's probably
I got the rock. Oh, she ran away.
I'm here to help.
No, I can't.
Go.
We should fight these kids. We should try to fight these kids though.
yeah. This is a nice way to fight. It's not a bad idea if you can get some good damage on them.
What number do you need?
I need light and energy.
I got
We'll load
Hard
it.
running.
Follow.
They're right in front of me. Keep fighting.
Keep pushing.
Or rather, Willy
That's
Yoida.
15 blue or white.
The guys are away.
One dead.
Nice.
OG Nugget Biscuit.
He's
What
flying
team
away.
is this?
Away.
Oh, no, I can't.
You dead yet?
Wait.
Did we chase?
No, they're on top. Yeah, we can chase this if we want to. Yo, right, Steve?
I learned a lot of things the hard way.
That's why they should add a cross platform, man. Just to...
Poggers. All right, well, actually, they're in a fucking primo spot. I'm trying to remember where this one ends. Oh, this is the one that ends like down here. Okay. Oh, perfect, actually. Because if you were here for when I was talking about Lou's team, I was talking about the advantages of Pathfinder versus not running one. And I literally mentioned this. So, Madness's team, I'm about to have a fucking 5-head moment here. So I'm about to explain all of that so you can truly see the fucking 5-head moment here. Madness's team drops Geyser. So they basically have free pickings on any really good spot that they want here, right? If you remember, this is the circle where Lou's team, they scanned it. The second circle was like a hard pull, kind of like down here-ish. And it wasn't like a crazy hard pull. It was enough for you to know that it's going to end here somewhere. Okay? And I literally said in that Lou segment, Ajax, this is the part of the video where you double back to the Lou segment for YouTube. I literally said in the Lose segment, most teams that don't have a Pathfinder are going to read that the circle ends here somewhere. And they're going to play this. What do we have here? Ladies and gentlemen. A non-Pathfinder team reading that it's going to be here. Holy shit. Ah, yes. Anyways. So stacked. It was so top heavy. 100%. Alright, so I'm going to play. So I paused it in this particular spot because I wanted to finish what I was talking about. But they're about to assess the new circle. Obviously, they have to move, so this is a pivotal point. One of few pivotal points in the map. Match.
It's gonna end right up here. We're fine. We're actually so fine.
Good night, P-Fitter. Have a
I'm so
good
happy.
one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're good. We're in such good position now.
It took 4 out.
All I have, I don't have much light ammo, but I have a lot of energy.
Nice.
Big.
That's huge. That's huge.
That's actually a big ass knock.
Let them
Shit.
finish it.
No, he
You get it?
It's straight down. If you want to dome and try to thirst that kid.
I was gonna say they could
Well,
easily
you have
join him
teleport,
and
you have
dome
teleport,
in as 3 and just thirst the
Right.
shit
I
out of
got the
that.
full heal. He's dead. I got to heal him.
Yeah, you got the point. You got the point. Nice.
Good shot. Good fucking
The
shot.
shot, I think the shot at doorway though.
That's big. That's good
Right,
shit on
right.
Madness right there. That's like
Need heavy ammo,
so
I'm dropping 4 light.
How much ammo do you have? How much
very,
ammo?
very fucking. That's a
I only
big
have
ass
the
fucking
37.
open right there.
I'm good.
A lot of extra loot. I mean, obviously that team was seemed to be in shambles a little bit
Dude,
too.
that was it. That was
But
all we needed.
extra kill points like that, that's very big. Good shit on Madness. Madness
Yeah, I got a gold stable.
seems like he
now.
played out of his mind. I do know that he
I'm
was
feeling
obviously
a lot
the kill
confident
leader
myself
here
right
in
now.
this tournament.
Someone already set up on this.
We're hard fighting here. Gibby
It's good to
opening.
see.
We're
It's
going-
nice to see newer, like, not newer faces in terms of like
We have
a
poke.
newer
No, we
player,
don't.
but like different
There's
faces
2v3
at the
here.
top. It is really nice to see. Good for
Give us
Madness.
the zone. Give us the zone.
Let's do that.
What's the play?
Play here. Okay. Yeah, go with way.
Yeah, Loco. This is a ballsy. Wait a minute. This is a ballsy rotation right here. I love it. Trust me, I'm all for it. This is a good rotation. Like for sure, they want to be on this end of the circle. I was saying this in Lou's VOD as well. They like being on this end right here. Like you're golden. You're golden. So
We're good. If there's a team here, we hard 3v3.
that's a ballsy fucking. It's so ballsy to rotate with the balloon like that this late. I love it though. I'm all for it.
Wait, should we chill on the backside of? There's a rat.
Oh, it's over here. There's a rat.
The whole team.
This whole team.
They're
Nice
both
shots.
so
Wait.
hurt.
Did he just hit for 12?
So fu-
Ultimate if you can.
Hold on.
Wait,
Did
should we
he just
chill
hit
on
for
the backside
12?
There's a rat.
Oh, it's over here. There's a rat.
Okay, he
The
cracks the
whole
wraith.
team.
This whole team.
They're both so hurt.
What?
So fucking hurt.
I mean, the Watson should have been. That was a 12 shot, by the way. Bro.
The rat.
The whole team.
This whole team.
That was like point blank.
Both
That was such a.
so fucking hurt.
That was such a center match shot. That's crazy. Anyways.
Hey, the last one I hit for 100 plus.
You're up front. Nice. You're okay. I like that. Watch for the third party here.
That's
You're
crazy.
dead.
Get third party. We need to die. Let's see up here. We're good. We're safe here. We're safe.
Like, it really, if you slow down a lot of people's Peacekeeper shots, you don't.
They're dead.
Oh, Peacekeeper, rip.
Ultimate.
It's fine.
And
You need to
movement.
get-
If you slow down a lot of Peacekeeper shots, you really do get a lot of, like, a lot of people, when they think they should have hit more,
You need to get
honestly
that loot.
do
Wait,
just
what's
hit,
your
like,
dome at?
not center match shots. That was
Okay, we're getting
pretty
that
fucking
dome.
center
Oh, we need that
mass.
loot. We need that loot.
That's pretty fucking center
I think so, no.
mass.
Not you. Macro.
Got it?
It's not the PK necessarily HCM, man. It's server issues
Yeah, bubble
more
that.
than anything.
I'm
Looting
coming
is
back
The
here
PK
for
itself
loot.
is
I need loot. I
fine.
need loot.
It's the server issues that make it sometimes hit for that.
Yup. 100%.
I well,
Storm. Actually,
I
I'm
would
gonna grab-
imagine
there's
it's
a
the server
fast-
issues
ooh.
because
Heavy ammo here.
I know, I picked up a bunch.
something netcode. Yeah,
Are we
basically.
recording?
Yeah, go there now.
Play in here. What if?
Well, Baker, I don't want to break. I hate to break it to you. It's not a LAN client.
We just have to play underneath here.
You're definitely gonna feel
can
better
see-
performance than you
gotta
ever
play
have
underneath
in
the
your
bridge.
life,
We gotta play
but
underneath
it's
the
not a
bridge.
LAN client.
We're so good. Yeah, the start spamming.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yep.
remember. Yeah, there was
Your
one
Rob
game.
says-
There was one game,
No,
Cosmic. I
team
think it was like
just
game
dropped-
5.
team
There was a
just
lot of
dropped-
crashes. Anyways, let's talk about what's going on here.
I know, but-
So again, this is actually a real. I've never played down here. This is actually a really strong spot because I mean the only team that they have to worry about right now is Lou's team that's up here, and they have been pretty horny for these guys. This is a really strong spot.
Rat
Otherwise,
team's
though.
here. Wait, we can control this backside. That's ending. That's endgame. I think we should try to get back here. No?
Call though too.
Follow me. Follow me. There's a rat team here.
I have bubble. I have
Shooting
bubble.
is from the top.
Give me beamed right here. Give me beamed. Give me beamed right there.
He's running.
Big.
One more there. One more there.
On me.
Hurt.
Nice. Wait.
One.
Wait, what the hell?
Over here.
Did that GB just birth a Watson?
Raid?
What the fuck? I thought it.
Sailing.
Back up. You're good. I ulted need this. They can't push us.
I honestly thought it was just a Jibby back there.
Okay, we need. Yeah, we gotta fight this team.
Foggers.
Taking it. Give me a sec.
Yeah, we're safe here. We're safe here. We're just hold here. We're just hold here.
Bro, I swear to God, they downed the Jibby and a Watson emerged from his body.
I'm doing. Give me 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second.
Actually, yeah. Put it right there. No, I agree with you.
I can't put it down where you're at.
Don't put it there now.
Oh
Oh.
fuck.
Uh-oh.
My
We
bad,
should
my
have
bad,
waited
my
because
bad.
this team's gonna poke it out. We should have waited for the zone to close. We're okay though.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
You're chilling, homie. You're
You're
chilling.
good. We're good.
You're so good.
It's okay,
You're
man.
so
Okay.
I feel
Yo,
bad
wait,
for
you
Macro.
guys
Macro,
over
it's
here
okay,
now?
dude.
Yeah,
Like, you're
With
good.
me.
Yeah, we need to secure this. You're right. 100%. I agree.
I want to make sure there's not a fucking rat in here. There's someone close left. No rat.
17 to 15. Just
Okay.
stay here. Stay here.
Yeah, I'm backing up. I just want to make sure there's no rat. I want to make sure there's.
If they-
hold this by yourself.
If
Yeah,
they
like,
die
you're right
here,
here. Yeah.
you know Macro's gonna be
Yeah.
reliving
Yeah.
this nightmare of accidentally using his ult.
Yeah, go to Madness too if it's up. Madness, push it in the left side. Watch out, bud.
Yeah, there's a team on my height.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
worried
you're fine,
about.
you're fine.
Did anybody need
Behind
backs?
us, behind us. Almost cracked.
I don't know how I just misclicked.
You're good, you're
They're
good.
not dropping. Does anybody need batteries? I have 3.
I need heals. I need batteries.
Here, I just dropped all the heals I can. There you go.
Dropped all of it.
Alright,
Yeah, I
go
think
to
there
Madness,
actually was
Madness,
a
team
purple on the
us,
right.
team us.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Cracked.
Macro's on blue.
Almost cracked on right, almost cracked on right.
Watch our right. They're swinging on our right. Don't overextend here. Okay, teams hard fighting here. They might drop off because they're about to die. Watch for KP here.
Wig does, yeah.
Keep it up. Good job.
I love Wig, dude. Wig's actually such a dude. He's just the nicest fucking dude, man.
I'm trying to fucking just saying. Good shit.
I know. I love it though. That makes me like laugh.
You're actually doing God's work. Good shit.
Yeah, click on.
Right,
Macro just called clear comms. I love this guy. Holy
There.
shit.
Get back, get back, get back.
Yeah, I'm good. It's just a solo raid.
Macro just said clear comms. Love it.
Hold my angle.
On top. People up top.
Fine, that's
I
fine.
am not too far. I probably will eventually.
Yeah, we need-
I'm sure it was.
I think so. I
You
agree
put
with you.
decop on Monsoon on the team, and that's
I
already.
have to. Macro's gonna go down.
No, I'm down. I'm going
Hey,
down
just play
because
under
they had
with
an
me.
angle on me.
With me. Help. Knock.
Nice. Get the
Nice shot.
Nice. It's the last team. It's the last team above us. They're gonna jump on us. I can't get the res.
Yeah.
They're jumping down.
Jumping bubble. Put him up. Allow me.
How's that only a 77?
Damn, good try, bro.
That's alright. Good shit, dude.
Yo, I mean, that's a good game. That's 2 really good games back to back.
Dude, and Seagull got first place and their team got 17th last time. So they're not gonna, that point's not gonna matter. How many?
That was really good. I mean, honestly, like, those rotations were really solid. They didn't even have, like, you saw, like, obviously they misread the first circle because they didn't have a path. They didn't know where that circle was going to go. The second circle pulled kind of hard in the southeast. But overall, that was a really solid, like, game from them. They made the right calls. The balloon was really fucking ballsy, but it worked out really fucking well. Overall, really solid 2 games. First 2 games have been really fucking solid from this team. And I love that, like, they're all on the same page. Like, that's the thing. There's so much unity in all their calls. No one's off doing their own thing, really. Macro, they're also, like, doing very well with, like, teaching Macro what to do all on the spot. It's a great vibe I'm getting from this team, and I like it a lot. All right, let's go. All right, so I believe this is game 3. I could be wrong. I think this is game 3. First 2 games, they did very well. Got a lot of kills, got high placements in both games. So far, loving what I'm seeing. Good calls, good plays.
Well, they were shooting in the second we shot them once. Wig ripped.
I'm trying to remember lose team. I think they did not do. Oh yeah, this is the team. This is the game they got picked in market. All right, this could be a couple different circles. There's obviously the one I talked about this on lose during lose VOD, but I didn't also get to see it because they got picked kind of early. Could be out here, this area. There is a common one out there. Could be up here. Could be. I think there's an ending in Fragment East, like somewhere in here. I'm not quite sure. I'm still kind of new on a lot of these new circles, but especially within Cap, there is one that ends on the bridge, but I don't think this one ended here.
Okay.
I don't think that bridge ending was here. Blue asks, quick question. So why doesn't Watson get best armor? Like, I kind of get why if you have the Wraith, so she can get in and out. Yeah. So great question. Actually, fantastic. So most pro teams, I mean, the target will vary. Some teams shoot at like just whatever they see, but most good teams will actually focus fire the Jibby of all targets. Reason being, It doesn't matter if you, like, say you're like a good 50 to 100 meters out. It doesn't matter if you knock the Watson if there's a Jibby on the team. Because Jibby just throws the dome, reses her. Wraith puts the portal in the dome. They get a reset while she's setting up the portal, and they're out before you can even capitalize. Assuming you're a little bit further away. So you actually want to put the best armor on Jibby because good teams will absolutely target the Jibby 100%. Because if you can down the Jibby for free, that team is going to be in shambles. Well, the Watson particularly. So you actually want Jibby to have the good armor because he can actually save your Watson.
Just keep going.
All right, you want to take there? You want to take this building?
This should have 4-story. One of the two. Honestly.
Okay. Whatever you feel more comfortable with. I've had a lot of success holding here. I just have a feeling it's pulling north. I don't know why, but I just feel like it's pulling north.
It's a lot of.
Wait till the sun closes.
I'm down with it.
Alright, let's do it.
It's very conservative, nice, very easy maneuver. Just to.
If you want to go there now, we can. If you want an easier.
Moving building to building is also not a bad idea. Moving building to building is very good. Take one, don't commit to it. See how it's doing. Go to the next one.
Yeah, we should fill the win. We could even go for 3P here.
So you come here and you put ultimate.
We want a 3P.
Yeah, look for it. Don't get too crazy.
What do you want for the ultimate?
Oh, you got to put it on third floor. You can't put it up here. It'll just get
Yeah,
shot
I'm
on
not.
the board.
Third floor. Okay.
Hey,
Where-
Trey.
the
Oh
corner?
no, I think they clean wiped.
No. Oh, dude,
No.
this is hard. I'm actually not sure what to put it.
I think the other building might be better.
Can you put it right here?
This building is so hard to hold now.
Don't.
Straight up, it's actually so hard to hold now.
Just
I'm
either
gonna use the
one-
ultimate on it then.
Yeah, you're good. Use it right now, and then just start fencing up. You fence here, on the zips right
Not
here.
the roof as much, but it's definitely not as easy as it
Yeah,
used to
seeing
be.
everybody going north is,
Yeah?
I don't really like this spot, but it's not the worst.
dude.
Oh.
That pole's crazy. Holy fuck.
Okay, I don't know this end circle. I have not, or I didn't see it from the last game.
Okay, wide
reviewed, lose VoDs.
I don't really like this spot, but it's not the worst.
All right,
Dude.
so this could be several different places. This could be definitely several different places. There is a circle that's kind of like literally smack dab right in the middle here, kind of like with this bridge. Obviously this whole area is up a possible point. I highly doubt from it showing this kind of circle, but there is a circle out here. It's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be this one. But it's likely to be somewhere in this hillside right here. That's usually where this circle goes. Oh, I haven't seen this one though, because I was watching Lou, but they already died by now.
And try to see if we can get somewhere back here.
Yup, for sure.
Or Lou was soloing or
Go.
something. I forget exactly.
It's fucking disgusting.
That's a hard fucking pull. All right, man. We're gonna have to probably end up. Odds of us getting our spots gonna be likely. So if we see a good fight and we get good damage, we're gonna have to.
Bro, if we
Oh,
can
blue armor.
Oh my,
Take it.
oh my god, him talking like that scared the fuck out of me, bro.
I'm
Oh my god.
No, you're so good.
I'm like, dude, we're out in the open.
interesting.
Yelling.
So-
There's only 15 squads left.
Yeah, there's Lou.
Yeah, Lou dead. Dude, this is a really good spot to hold for now, honestly.
I'd be down to see if we can even get like.
Deeper. Oh, on me. Above, in front of me. Let me fight this. In front
Yeah,
of me.
I'm down.
I cracked him. Cracked him out there. They don't have their bubble. They're not gonna have their bubble.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna ult us though, isn't he?
No.
That's fine. I have my bubble as well.
They're playing up.
I'll play bubble. 9, purple on him. They're gonna take our bubble.
A lot of small little damage
Back
going
up a
on
little
here.
bit. Don't get too crazy.
Cracked one.
Nice. Good
Reporting
shots.
out. Fight them. Fight them now.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Farm.
Red. Yeah, over there.
Yo.
I'm ulting them.
That's a new team. Is that a new team? It's a new team.
No, same. Oh, it is okay.
No, it is, because we just killed Gibby. We just killed Gib. Back up, Macro.
I'm gonna die.
You're good.
Oh no.
Oh, man. Get out of
No, Madness, get out.
I'm slowed.
Bro, what did they do? Such a-
That sucks. Damn, I guess I just never get to watch the end of the circle because both teams I have tried to watch already just died too early. Alright, so let's talk about what happened there.
I gotta kill. I gotta kill though.
Let's go now.
Let's go.
Going.
My first concern is they talked about how they wanted to take this building and then port into the one diner building a while ago, a couple minutes ago, but they never did it. I don't really know why. If they had, obviously in hindsight, I mean, they didn't know this circle was going to pull the way it did. In hindsight, if they had done it, obviously it would have been better. But I'm just curious from that standpoint why they just didn't take that building. Because there is, like I said, there is a circle that ends like right outside here. And both Wig and Madness are hard scrimmers. They know these circles for the most part. They know that there is a circle that ends here. So I'm very interested as to why they didn't just end up taking this. Again, Madness called that he's going to do it. And Wig confirmed it, but they just never did.
We rotate it wide right.
So I'm not sure why this rotation wide right is happening to basically effectively do the same thing. I mean, they're obviously not going into this building from this rotation, but they're trying to get a better spot for the circle. I mean, this isn't a bad spot. This diner is not a bad spot. Rotating out of it could be a bit of a nightmare if it actually does pull pretty hard over here. I'll give them that. So, again, rotating up here is not a bad idea either. It's just more like I'm confused as to why they said they'll do this and then they just never did it.
We can get somewhere back here.
But pulling up here is not a bad, I mean, rotating up and around in that top epi is not a bad idea. There's a lot of high ground there. If you're one of the teams that controls this area up here, you're like, you have a lot of control typically. You can control a lot of the tempo from a lot of teams that are fighting in cap that are trying to rotate, or teams around. Like, this area is good for control up here. So it's not a bad idea to rotate up through here. Again, I'm just confused as to why, like I said.
Oh my god, him talking like that scared the
I'm just confused as to
bro.
why they didn't go through with their original rotation.
I'm like, dude, we're
I'm
on the
thinking
open,
Sojo.
he's
All
yelling.
teams are dying. There's only 15 squads left.
So,
We'll just keep rotating in.
let's go look at what actually happened bad in the fight. It might have just been an unfortunate third party.
I'll give it a job here.
Like, this is not a bad rotate around. It
Dude,
isn't.
this is a really good spot to hold for now, honestly.
Yeah, what
I'd be
Wig
down
said,
to
it's
see
not
if
a
we
good
can even
spot,
get
or
a
it's
fight.
not a bad spot at all.
Oh, on me. In front of me. We can fight this. In front
Yeah,
of me.
I'm down.
I cracked him. Cracked him out there.
Alright, so immediately, if you have two Gibraltars fighting, if you are the Jibby that throws your dome out first, most of the time you've lost. So, or like you're probably going to lose that fight. So this is already very good. They got a lot of intro damage off. Solid.
They don't have their bubble. They're not gonna have their bubble.
Yeah.
He's gonna ult us though, isn't he?
No.
That's fine. I have my bubble as well.
They're playing up.
I'll play bubble.
Smart, disciplined play to not just push hard send the bubble. Madness is a lot of, like, even though it's a lot of chip damage here, he's getting a lot of it for free, so this is very good. He did take that one ult damage right there.
Cracked one.
But right now, they're basically
Fight
resetting.
them now.
Right now, so a smart TP from this team. I don't know who it is. Whoever played with Pokeballs, it is.
Yo.
I'm ulting them.
That's a new team.
I'm trying to
Is that
figure
a
out
new
what happened here.
team? It's a new team.
No, shit. Oh, it is okay.
No, it is, because we just killed Gibby. We just killed Gib. Back up, Macro.
I'm gonna die.
You're good. Oh, no.
It's almost a fourth party.
No,
Yeah.
Madness, get out.
I'm slowed.
That sucks. That seems like a fucking fourth party right there, to be honest. That's one of those unfortunate things where, like,
This is no
both
go.
teams
My
just
man's
kind of
on
walk
blood.
up awkwardly. I talked about this earlier. Both teams, like, walk up awkwardly to each other and then just start fighting, and then everybody else responds to it.
I gotta kill him.
That's actually, like, just everything happens so fucking faster that I don't even know what the legit play. The only question, again, like I said, that I really have here is why they didn't do that initial, why they didn't do the initial rotate where they literally talked about it, where Madness said he's gonna go to that, they're gonna go to the house across the bridge and TP from there into the diner. Again, this is like, I think this is the overall safer rotate in terms of securing your rotations for later game, because even though there's a building free in cap, typically those buildings are hard to rotate out of, right? It's unfortunate that they like the route they took in their head was definitely safer, but obviously a lot of other teams had the same exact goal and mindset.
I gotta kill though. We got pinches pretty hard.
Yeah, pinched real hard. That's really unlucky. I mean, that's what happens when you kind of like. It's always really dangerous to move a lot. To cover a lot of ground, you have to imagine, especially like when did they go to rotate? Fuck, I keep going
Snipe
back.
down the team.
What did they go to rotate?
They did not mind hunting at all, and
So when they started rotating,
Pull. Should we rotate?
it was okay. So it was 17 squads left when they started rotating. That's a lot of ground to cover to go all the way up here. That's a lot of ground to cover. You're just at that point, like you're likely to run into a team. One, which they did, but running into like what, another like 2, 3, 4 teams there was actually pretty crazy. Obviously a little bit unlikely. You'd imagine most teams are going to be in cap.
Wide right.
It is
See if we
super
can get someone
unlucky,
back
but
here.
that's the inherent risk you take when you move more than you need to, if that makes sense. Which is why I'm defaulting constantly to why they didn't just take this diner was in. I mean, it's not the best spot in the circle, but it's a spot for them to hold. But again, you always got to be careful with how much ground you traverse, because there might be other teams. The more ground you cover, the more likely you are to run into somebody. That's just math. Very simple math. It's actually pretty confusing math in the grand scheme of things, but you know what I'm saying. We're gonna just go to the next game right away.
I'm not. Yep.
All right, let's take a look at this. Right, this is that dome circle. I think Lou's team also didn't get very far on this one either. Yeah, that's right. They died over here in lava. Okay, I'm very curious to see how this one played out. So this team drops. So Lou's team dropped here, and they went all the way around here and died here. So I'm curious as where Madness's team plays here. So yeah, I'm very curious where this team plays,
Yep.
because Lou's team didn't run in here.
It's because you guys got ahead. I can overlook a little bit. We look good. We look good. Yeah, so 100% if we can get this building. Oh, actually, I don't know. I feel like it is a 50-50 if it goes tree or here. Yeah, that's tough. That
Interesting that
path.
they're reading it. Interesting that they're reading
I
it.
definitely think if it's free here, we should hit Lou.
I think most players would read this as a dome circle. Like obviously tree
Get
is
that blue
in
arm.
it,
Get that blue arm.
but more often than not, this first circle is
that? If
indicative
it
of a
looks
tree
free, you wanna
circle.
hit Lou?
Or sorry, dome circle.
I dropped 4
Not
syringes
dome,
here
but
if
like
someone needs.
the area west of
I'll
dome.
take him. I'll take.
I say maybe we balloon to like left side here. Oh no, you're good. Oh, you had to jump? Okay. Okay, it's fine. You got out. We're good. I think they're too far. We should be good.
Someone looted in there.
Oh, I'm right. Yo, let's get in this house. Get in this house.
Yeah. Get in the house. Get in the house. We're good. We're okay.
Angle traps immediately when you get in. Close it.
Yeah, you're good. Get second floor. If you can.
Full heal, and I think we just keep rotating.
Yeah. Let me heal first.
Wait, they don't,
Trying to ape
they
our
don't
house.
die here,
Yeah,
do they?
just
Cracked him. I cracked him.
Ult or
You don't
no?
have TP, right?
I do have TP.
More on TP in the cave.
Yeah, there are people landing over there. The path.
I'm curious. Did they make it out of here alive? I don't
The
remember.
path over there where I shot at.
Wait,
Okay.
inside cut cave? No.
Not in the cave, around the cave though.
Come,
Inside
come.
the
Let's
cave.
go to match, yeah.
I'm
That's a good TV.
I think it's gonna end choke, bro. People
Definitely
are
just gotta
saying
get out. That
it's
other team's horny as fuck.
Yeah,
I don't.
there's a
Is
path
that
inside
Lou's
that
team?
random-
That
You
could've
don't think
been-
it's any
no.
choke? You think
Maybe.
it's any
I
tree?
don't
I
remember.
think it is
I
choke.
think it is. Okay.
I think we just stay in this car and we're chilling. If we get here, we're so good. We're so
All right. I'm with it.
If they can actually take this car,
We
I'd
gotta
be
set a
very
hard perimeter
surprised.
with fences here too.
With just
you
how
know,
many
right?
other, like, I mean, it's not like this
I'll-
isn't guaranteed to be
I'll
this
show you
circle.
where-
It could be
We're
here.
in this-
Like, there is an ending that ends right outside of this tractor.
No, we're good.
Surprised if this is just
Perimeter
completely
where?
open, not even looted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say.
And then what you want to do is
I don't like this. A lot of Watson players, or like,
Fences bring-
obviously this is no. I think there's a lot better ways to hold this tractor. I don't like fencing inside of it. I think that does nothing for, you know, it creates a little bit of visual like eye clutter for like anyone that's like peeking inside the windows. But you can establish a way bigger perimeter.
Okay, put one behind this rock where I'm standing.
Which this is good right here.
Drag it to behind this rock.
But you could also put like a lot of fences
And then you
around
want
the
to
tractor.
go like as far as that way you can.
This is good. Definitely always.
Pull it
You always
down to
want to
there.
do this.
Okay,
Then you just keep whatever you think is good cover on the lower side.
on it. Oh, I broke that. I'm an idiot.
Not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
So for the record, I don't know where this circle ends because again, Lou's
No,
team
we got
died
good
kind of early
rotates.
in lava.
Like
People in that as well.
Yeah, I'm dropping 2 batteries for you guys.
I'm surprised at how
have
many
one.
people were in lava actually, because I watched Lou's team before this. Lou's team obviously
you're
got to
good.
lava a lot
Yeah,
later than
stay away
Madness's
from
team
that.
did. But Madness's
Just,
team got
let's-
contested in lava pretty early on, and then Lou's team got contested by like 3 other
either
teams
way, I
in
don't think we
lava.
oh, it's ending here.
Yeah,
Yeah, we get cave. We get back cave again.
out of the west.
I'm gonna go back to this real quick.
Let's see what this post. Let's see what the big.
I know, unless you've been here all night,
Either
which
way,
I don't
think we
expect everyone has been. I called this circle too. I called it too. Just saying. Just saying. Open for coaching opportunities.
Oh, it's ending here.
Yeah, we get cave. We get back cave again.
You wanna go back cave now?
I think so. I think we go there now.
You have ulti macro?
Not yet. I can have ultimate cylinder. Don't want me to use it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep
Popping
rotating.
it.
But I am curious. Oh
we
yeah,
have order
30 is
now.
going down. So this is
You
where
might have to.
Lose
I don't
team
know if I
ends
want you
real
guys
quick
moving
for
on the open, though.
match point at least. They obtained the
Alright,
threshold
alright,
from
alright.
this game.
Yep.
Yeah, you're good. Just come to us and chill. Cave's a really good spot for this rotation. We're being honest.
Okay.
It is very good.
Yeah, you guys play this area a lot, so I'm trusting your call here.
Yeah. What would you want to play other than this?
I mean, there.
I don't think
But
so. It's
that's
not
it.
open,
No,
right?
I know. So at that point, I'm down for whatever else, because I don't know what else we could hold.
Gotta get my 8 hours in. Hey, it'll all be on YouTube.
All right,
Trust.
Sensed here.
Riven, thank you for the follow.
Not ours.
That's not ours. That's not ours.
Walk up, walk up.
I wanna look. Yeah, they're in here. We can't
Do
play this.
we want to fight?
Okay, we're going back. We're gonna fight.
If we're gonna fight, we should just fight for the big house, to be honest. But
For the big house. No, it's not
Well, I'm
worth.
sticking with the
Hey,
league.
I'm gonna leave. I'll leave. All right, we
yeah,
can
I
just
think
leave.
we should leave.
Alright.
This is shit.
Want to go back to our spot or no?
No, we just have to
Just
stay.
chill.
Here.
We have to just kind of chill.
We don't have to fight this, but we can hold down here. It's possible.
We can hold them out. We can hold them out.
We could hold Ben's here. Like, this is not impossible to hold. We can just play here if you want.
Where do you want ultimate? Where do you think ultimate should go?
Ultimate should probably just pop right here. If I'm being honest.
This is risky. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Like, this area is not
Get
that
fences
bad
as soon
to
as you
hold,
can across this entrance.
but it is when
Yeah,
you when you're literally co-holding with another team in the
What if
cave.
we... Honestly, we have another ulti, so what if we wrapped on them and held up here? Because that's the rotate you guys would take after tunnel, right?
It sounds like there's two teams fighting over there in lava though right now.
The thing is, are we going to take the rotation and are we going to go...
So this circle is likely to end out here. I'm gonna do actually some analysis. I realize I've been kind of like slacking right now because I'm just fucking tired as hell. But this circle definitely ends. I shouldn't say definitely, but at this point it's likely to end somewhere, obviously in this like big middle area right here. It could pull out here, could pull down there, but it's very likely to end out here. Again, I don't know which one it's gonna be. So really good spots here are honestly anything on the edge here for the most part. Not literally anything. You can't have all the teams out here, but like the rotate that Madness was talking about earlier, I don't know if it's available, but like this up here, at the top of this cave is a really strong one. It's a very, very, very strong high ground that stops anyone from the cave, and you can stop people from coming in from lava, so you can have your back free to you as you move in. Obviously anywhere in dome could still house a lot of teams, about like 2 or 3 different teams. You'll definitely have a team back here. I believe there's a beacon back here too for this map exactly. And then you have a lot of different teams around. Obviously the middle house is really strong. This area is really strong too, but you can't play it because everyone else is just going to shoot you at the moment. So it's not necessarily the worst idea for them to go back to their spot that they were in. That's also a pretty strong spot, because this spot, anytime you have to play like a major choke, the best area to play is like right on the outside of 2 areas that you can rotate through. So like this tractor is actually a low-key strong spot because it gives you the big options of going down this way or going down back out this way and around. Depending, and it all depends on the situation, right? Like say there's like a big team fight here, 2-3 teams involved, and you come in and clean up real quick. All of a sudden you have a shit ton of loot, and then you can go out this way. Or say this is completely clogged up, but this is open. You know, you have options with this. You always want to take the rotations that give you more options in the long run. So this spot really isn't that bad. It doesn't typically end out here. There is one that ends like right here. I don't know if it's going to be this one. But giving yourself more options and more breathing room for rotations is always a very big positive.
You want to go up along the side?
This team's still looking to watch out.
Yeah, we're
All
getting
we need
pinched
to
right
do,
now.
literally, listen. All we need to do, not die.
Forehead. Just don't die. They gotta get out of here.
alive for a minute.
They're spending too much
They're
time
alive
here. That was a good bubble, but they gotta get out of here. They gotta get out of here.
Hopefully the team doesn't fight us in the West Coast.
Hold on, you want me to? I'm gonna look here and see this team's here. They're not here anymore.
That might be fair. Rotate them.
We might be.
But we can't walk that. There's no way.
You want me to port you guys? They're
Yeah,
fighting
I might
inside
have
this
to.
building. I'm porting you guys
Really?
now.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come, macro. They're fighting inside this building.
They're fighting. We
They
go
could
for
have
it.
ran
I think,
that.
yeah,
They didn't need a
I
port
think we
for
should
that.
just get in here, man.
I agree. Dude, look how Edge's zone is so fucking corrupted and there's nothing here.
Maybe should we climb on balcony and take second floor?
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing it right now.
I'm gonna look for damage. First floor. They're healing. They're in second floor.
Any damage, Rock?
No. I'm destroying ulti. I'm nading them.
Crack, wait, one shot.
Dead.
Nice. Good nade.
There's one out.
I mean, dead.
All dead. Let's go!
Huge. Now, right now.
This is ours.
Get a Watson on this left side, right here.
Where? Right
there.
Bring
That's
it down.
good. That's massive.
Devo wig.
I got it.
I can't trap these.
That's a big ass win.
You're fine. Don't stress. Just trap it all up. You're chilling. Let's go.
R9
I know
PK,
you're
gold
probably-
save. So
I'm
much
good.
fucking loot.
I'm good. I'm R9 devotion.
Okay, macro, get as many fences as you can on all the entry points down here.
Below as well.
It's because the amount of houses for cover.
Oh shoot.
Wait,
need
which
to
map are you
transfer
talking about?
a
This
second.
one?
Okay.
Good. Don't stress.
Alright,
Flank
slow
good
it
items
down.
and
We
follow.
did what we needed to. We're good now. Slow it down.
Good job, man. That's good.
I have.
That's so big that they're able to get this house.
All right.
You have two
Let's start
down
from
there.
this now.
You have two down there where we just came from, so you still technically have two.
Okay.
Do this.
I'm gonna bring them.
Grab this
Give me
one.
1 second. Let me just grab some. Let me just.
Okay.
Battery? Any batteries?
No, I'm good. Here, click this one.
Eagle one. Think you'll follow as well, man.
Which one?
Right here.
All right,
No,
so
like keep it up.
Oh.
Okay, connect it from there to like back here, diagonally.
All right. Get those fences up because we're going to start focusing on the teams pushing in now.
And connect
one,
here.
this one?
Connect that one. Yes, I agree with you, Wig. To this one. Or no.
Oh, to that one.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm gonna make a cross. I'm gonna make a quick cross.
Okay, now one more. Come to me. Last one.
No, I wasted. I think I wasted them all.
No, I think the door just got
Yeah,
destroyed.
this is fine right here.
Yeah, we're good. Actually, we'll just let it go.
oh macro.
Okay,
Macro's
Max.
adorable.
Just
It's fine,
focus on the
that's
team
fine.
rotating in.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Alright.
focus on the teams rotating in.
Now listen, macro. There's armor swaps here. If you take
Actually-
hard poke, pick up any of these. There's 4 of them on the ground.
Not hard poke. Not when you get poked. When you get poked, don't do it. If you get poked.
Yeah, I think it is evil tick.
All right.
Swap.
Wait,
Pretty sure
come
you
on
did
height.
that.
Watch me real quick.
Yeah,
I'm getting this drop.
Yeah, you're good. You should be fine. Team portaling here.
Yep.
You're good.
I got Mastiff coming back.
Macro, I want you to look on this side, bud. Mainly on that left side, all right?
Okay. On the left side? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking.
This must be so stressful for all the people that like
That way?
that are in this tournament that aren't Apex like
We're gonna be one of the main
players.
spots that
You know what I
people
mean?
are
Everybody's
This
yeah.
has to be
Everybody's
so
gonna try to
stressful
hard fight
from, like,
us.
their
They're gonna
from
like
their
people are
perspective.
gonna
I'll get
ego
it. I
challenge.
get it.
Yeah,
Like, let's
it
try to
was
take
a
this
draft
shit.
style system outcome, and they drafted each other.
I had a piece so bad.
Go pee after this man for sure.
Now I'm gonna go right now. BRB.
Go right now. Yeah, go right now. Go right now.
Yeah, BRB. Watch my angles. Watch my angles.
I think this fix King
Alright,
Team,
yo,
make it more scrims
We
slash
should be
comp friendly.
focusing
Make
KP
it
here.
bigger,
Team's
dude.
hard fighting there.
One
We
of
should
the
be looking.
worst
We should be
things about
looking.
King Team is it's just so much smaller.
No, I agree.
Not a lot of not.
Scouting me, Will.
It feels like a map made for like 16 people, not 20.
Trying to scare him off with the devotion.
Hey, they're pushing.
I cracked him as
I'm
well.
fucking these kids up. I'm moving up a little bit here.
Yeah, don't, no. Don't get your business.
Wraith cracked. I'm good. 100%. Trust me.
All right. Trust.
Okay, team portaling onto us.
You're fine. They pull far. They're behind
Yep.
me.
Max is
I'm
playing
high.
with some
Yep.
confidence, dude.
Yep,
You love
you're
to
good.
see it, to be honest.
You need to help me up here.
I'm up here.
I'm here. You're good. I'm on height.
Honestly, do you put Digi on your 99? I don't see anyone do it anymore. I still do, yeah.
Look. Wait, no, we can't.
Do we take that high ground right now?
Which one?
Right where that Wraith just fucking shit on you. Do we fight this team? I got Mastiff.
On the right side? Yeah.
He's got gold. Do you want to fight, yes or no?
No, not yet. We can't. No, we can't.
You got
We get an
Sentinel.
opening, we can. I cracked one.
Okay, I'm wide swinging left.
Yeah,
No, he knows.
Oh, unlucky.
Fuck.
We're gonna need a full sound on these kids.
They're smart. I think it's working. Maybe you should.
Yo, we might need to go left side.
Yeah, you want to go left? I'm down with that.
That
that.
sucks. That would actually been such an easy rotation for them to just
Fighting
be able to
here
do that
hard.
team just open them off hard.
Yeah. We don't need to portal in far though. Like, deep.
Okay.
Like, are we safe? Are we like safe right there? We're safe on this rock right
This
here.
is a tough
We should
rotation for them
we should
now.
go on the backside of that rock. And then I bubble that.
All right.
Oh,
Can you do that? Yeah, go. We take this late though. We take this really
Yeah,
late.
yeah, yeah.
Someone's inside, I think, behind us.
That's fine. You're good. Madness, don't do it now. Drop it now. You can drop
Okay,
it now.
okay.
Behind that rock there, I think.
Oh no, he's getting shot at.
That's
No, he's
good.
good. He's good. Go back and heal up again. Yeah, nice. Is that safe or no?
As of right now, yes.
All right, I'm gonna take in 1 second. I'm gonna take in like 2 seconds. We take it. Okay?
There's a lot of teams around us.
Yeah, I have to put an ulti down immediately. Okay?
Okay, I'm gonna do it immediately.
Yeah. I'm coming out.
Yeah, they're aggroing me.
Yeah, I'm bubbling.
Wait, taking really long
On our
on that.
backside, behind us
Nice.
right now.
Okay. I was gonna be so sad if Madness went down there or something.
You're good.
I'm moving up. 114 on Watson.
Nice.
Knock.
It's huge.
Nice.
Nice. It's huge.
I'm healing. We should fight this team.
Oh, just pull it back. By accident.
Sorry, you both
Put it
did.
back in accident.
You're good. Stay
They're
Help me.
trolling, dude. What the hell?
here.
Oh, it's in such
Hey.
an interesting spot.
Self-res on me.
I'm here. I need below you.
I'm good. Way slow. We're good.
Heal here. Step. No worries.
Yeah, I need to pop heal. Popping Phoenix. 7 seconds. Buy me time. I'm climbing up. We can climb up here a little bit.
Yeah, take this height if you can.
I need nades.
Yeah, I'm safe up here. Hold this.
Oh, enemies in the lava.
Yep. Shoot him if you can.
I got gold. Ooh.
Knocked one. I knocked one.
That's huge.
Nice.
That's out two. Should I stop?
And then the
Big
lava, he's
knock
in the lava.
macro.
Yeah, we need that kill. He's gonna die.
Madness
So when he
popped
gets
off here.
up,
Madness has been popping this whole entire tournament, man.
We got
Yep.
it.
See, to be
Nice,
honest.
huge. Good kill, bud.
Oh, someone's down. Someone's over there. He's weak.
Yo, I think we kill this team here. Ooh.
They're full. Stay up. They're full 3. We need this other guy dead. He's on his box. We need to get this top 2 placement. We need to kill this kid. We have
I know,
nades.
he's literally.
Nade, I'm burning.
I have one more nade.
He's not burning. He's not burning.
How is he still alive?
He's one.
Texas tournament is March 13th through 15th. Outcome.
He's literally one. What is he doing?
I'm gonna commit. I'm committing.
He's one. Nice. That's two.
Okay, last team's right here.
Last team, damn. They've been fucking farming.
Last team. That's last team.
Ammo.
They're in zone now.
now.
They're in zone. All right, we just gotta
Yeah.
dome right here. Come to me.
Yeah.
You dome right here on that rock.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not doing it yet.
No. We go zone.
Do it now.
We fight.
We have to fight this kid just straight up.
Look for damage.
That's good. That's a strong play.
They're gonna come to us. Knock 2.
Very fucking well done. Very fucking well done. Holy shit.
Let's go.
Very well done.
Let's go.
I know. Yes.
Very well done. Wow.
Let's go.
All the way from the
We're
rotation
again.
to the team comms, the team fighting. Fucking great. That's actually so well done.
Let's go.
We're 100%. Oh wait.
Again.
I want to go back to
Yeah,
that.
go. Ooh. Wait,
From-
that Wraith just fucking shit on you.
The call behind the rock
Smart.
here.
They're smart. I think it's this team.
I'm curious what happened to this team up here. Hold on.
Safe right there. We're safe on this rock right here.
I wonder who this
Just
team
pull
is.
the backside of that rock, and then I bubble that.
All right.
Oh,
This is a really good call by Wig. This is a really fucking
Yeah,
good
yeah.
call by Wig.
someone's inside, I think, behind us.
That's fine. You're good. Madness, don't do it now. Drop it now. You can drop it now.
Okay.
Behind that rock there, I think.
Oh,
What
no,
team
he's
is
getting
this
shot
though?
at.
Oh, I guess it's the one obviously. Duh. Sorry, I'm really tired. It's the team that's obviously right next to them.
Yeah, nice. Is that safe?
This
or
is
not?
actually
As of right now,
such
yes.
a good
All right, I'm
call.
gonna take in 1 second. I'm gonna take in like 2 seconds. We take it.
By
There's a
Wig.
lot of teams around us.
Yeah, I have to put an ulti down immediately. Okay.
Okay, I'm doing
They almost threw here by Wig taking forever to get through the
They're
fucking
aggroing me.
to come through the
Aggroing
portal.
me.
Like Madness
No,
could have
no, no,
eaten
no.
shit
On
here
our
pretty
backside,
hard,
behind us
but
right now.
they came right at the right time. Who actually won? Redsy's team won.
Yeah, you're good.
Moving up.
Redsy, Animal, and Guam, I think it was.
Watson.
I don't know who it is.
Knock.
Nice. It's huge.
I'm healing. We should fight this team.
Oh, just pull it back by accident.
Sorry, you both
Put it
did.
back in accident.
You're good. Stay
Help me.
Come here.
They got a lot of help though.
Self-res on me.
Yeah, I'm here. I need below you.
I'm good. Way slow.
I'm doing well, dude. How are you?
We're
Heal
good.
here. Step. No worries.
Yeah, I need to pop heal. Popping Phoenix. 7 seconds. Buy me time. I'm climbing up. We can climb up here a little bit.
Yeah, take this height again.
I mean, there were no pro teams in this outcome, so like no full pro teams.
Oh, enemies in the lava.
Most teams had one pro player. Some of them had two.
I got gold. Ooh.
Knocked one. I knocked one.
That's huge.
Nice.
That's out two. Should I stop?
And then the lava, and he's in the lava.
Yeah, we need that kill. He's gonna die. There's no way he gets up.
Also, Hal didn't play in this tournament either.
We got it.
He's dead. Nice. Huge. Good kill, bud.
Congrats,
Oh,
Julian.
someone's down. Someone's over there. He's weak.
Nah, this is all so well
I think we kill
executed.
this team here. Ooh.
They're full. Stay up. They're full 3.
They did.
We need this other guy dead. We need this other guy dead. He's on his box. We need to get this
Madness.
top 2 placement. We need to kill this kid.
Not telling your team about the purple that you just replaced.
I know, he's literally...
Madness, hello.
I have one more nade.
He's not burning. He's not
They
burning.
did really well here.
How is he still alive?
He's one on the left. We need to kill this kid. He's
This
literally
this
blind.
dome
What
was
is he doing?
such a
Gotta
good.
commit.
This dome was such a good fucking play right here, though.
That's last team.
They're
They're in zone though. They're in zone. All right, we just gotta
That's how you hold them out,
dome
though.
right here. Come to me.
Yeah.
You dome right here.
Yes,
On
good
that
stuff.
rock.
At 2.5, basically.
I'm not doing it yet.
No. We go zone.
Yeah, Visions isn't a pro.
We
Visions is
fight,
a good
we
fucking
fight.
player. He's not a
What the
pro
fuck
though.
is
He
this
doesn't
straight
like
for damage.
scrim and stuff like that. This is such a good dome. You like, what do you do, right? You have to just feed into them, like,
Knock 2.
and then they also have a massive. There's nothing you can do there. That's a very well executed move. Very fucking well played. Very fucking well played.
Let's go,
One more
baby.
game. One more game.
Let's go, Matt!
Very well played.
Let's
Oh,
go.
wait, we 100%. Oh, wait, it glitched out. Is it like not gonna show? Is it not gonna show the score?
What fucking talking about? Let's fucking go. Good
Is it,
shit.
is it not gonna show the score?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. Do I leave that? Oh, okay. Dude!
Let's go, baby. Let's go, Matt. Let's go, baby.
I don't know who Macro Show is, but I love his fucking energy. I'm gonna be honest.
That's a good.
Oh, perfect. All right, so we're looking at Finch. Thank you for the 2 months as well. We're looking at a likely drill site, or not, sorry, drill site. Likely train yard circle, obviously. Again, just to reiterate, I know I've said it a million times at this point. But if you want to, a good way to like kind of tell where like the circle is centered that not a lot of people for some reason take into account is simply where this line ends, the little orange line. Obviously, it like points directly to the center of the circle. So we're looking at likely a circle ending out here somewhere. There have been a couple weird ones like kind of out on this side. It could pull this way still. Obviously not having a pathfinder. I don't remember. I mean, obviously I did lose games, but that was yesterday. I don't remember. I think this one actually does pull out here. Yeah, I think this one actually pulls out into Cap, Fragment West. So we'll see how they read the circle. We'll see how they go. They have a ping obviously already up here. We'll see what this actually ends up being. This one's always, the train yard ones are always the fucky ones. And this is where path really comes in handy. Because more often than not, most of the people
grab that, I'm down to
will read
go.
a circle like this and they'll be like, oh, it's mainly
Plan is
over
to get the
train
train
yard, so it's
yard.
probably going to be something around train yard.
we
Yeah,
have to go left
so
side.
you can
Can't go-
listen to
can't go
Madness
left
saying
or
the same
right.
thing right
You
now.
don't think we can go through here?
But
so.
I'm pretty sure this one pulls to Cap from what I remember watching Lou's game. And this is where
They're fighting right.
it's those
here.
beacon scans that show crazy pulls is where Pathfinder
Alright, we
really,
gotta be careful, though. They're
really
not fighting
shows his
Harvester.
value.
Yeah, no, for sure. Everyone's
Versus
even
Gibby.
starting this game because now people are actually.
So it looks like they're going for a pretty big play. They're going for Warehouse, which is Warehouse. I think
On our left, on our left
in
behind
general,
us.
like if there's a lot of different train yard circles, but I think Warehouse is probably the strongest building you can actually take. The second story or the second floor of the warehouse is one of the strongest places you can take. That's generally safe for most circles. The cable cars are always a little risky. Like they're good, obviously, if you have a lot of snipers. They're good to get a lot of picks or pick damage, maybe even get a pick. They're good to try to like stop teams from rotating into train. But early game, I mean, if you don't have snipers, or if you don't have a Watson especially, or if you don't have shields, that can be really hard to hold. You have to have the right gear for it. Also, they can get like, there's certain ones that can get picked at by like almost everyone. So I don't know. I'm never really a fan of holding the train yard cable cars. I'm always a fan of taking the warehouse, which is I think what Wig is shooting for. I think it's what most teams shoot for. Like I said, the second floor is relatively safe. It's got a lot of cover from a lot of places. It's very difficult to push without getting fought by someone else. I am standing right now.
We
yes.
look free
I am
here.
using
We
my
loon
standing
and
desk.
just land on the train.
What's up, Jamerson? Got a solid 9 hours today. It was great. Hey man, you deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys had a fucking tiring ass day.
If it looks free, this is gonna buy us a lot of fucking time.
This is a decomp rotation if I've ever seen one. I know exactly where they're going. I learned this from Decop actually in GLL. He took Decop really enlightened me when I played with him to a lot of different places that you can actually play on the map that aren't what you would like. You would normally think like that's a dog shit place, but they're actually not that bad. And this, what they have pinged right here is one of them. I'm assuming this is where they're going. You steer clear of a lot of like the train yard aggro, and there's a lot of like boxes here you can actually play. I mean, there's some decent spots you can actually throw the Watson ult down that most people won't be able to hit. It's low ground, obviously. It's low ground to everything around it, but its strength really comes in that like nobody can really poke at you without overexposing the shit out of themselves. You know, obviously you have this entire track.
Which place are we going to?
You have this entire track that if anyone peeks over and shoots at you, train yard will probably shoot at them.
Dropping the light armor there.
Same with if they're up near train yard too. Same thing. The only real
Yes.
let's see, they might just go for the warehouse, but this is the area right here I'm talking
We want
about.
to control the upper crane car.
Right down
I
here.
can't get there. I'm just gonna take the zip.
All right.
Yeah, I think the zip at the bottom.
This spot right here. It's actually really solid.
No, you should take the left most one.
I'm going to leftmost.
Does the ones across look free?
I can't tell. No, one on the left side isn't.
One on the left side is taken by them.
Okay.
They hit me and put him out right here.
Yeah, right there. What about big building? Yo, Madness, can you check big buildings open?
I can.
So also, if you have an open, I want to touch on this for a sec. If you have like an open, supporting for.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I think he's
Yeah, they
porting
really
the
want to
scout.
shoot.
Yeah, let him do it.
I don't think I'm gonna
Oh,
be
yeah, I
able to
think
get
he's
an
porting
angle
the
on
check
big building.
for the warehouse.
If you can't,
No, we play. Yeah, it's okay if we can't get the angle.
It does look free though.
Might be worth the take, bro. But is it 100% free? Guaranteed.
The top
Portal's
side
in the
is not
open, though,
fenced
so
up at
you
all. There's
gotta
no
be
fences on the
careful.
top.
I think we go there.
He has no alt
Okay.
excel.
Let me use it.
Top.
So what I wanted to say is, if you're not ever sure it's going to be a train circle, but you want to play one of the cable cars, it's always best to take one of these two out here, because you have like contingency plans if it all of a sudden starts to not be train yard. You're pretty, for them, not like necessarily locked in, but it's a lot harder to move out of these two cable cars freely than it is these two. So taking this early and then kind of using it to scout's always a solid idea, especially because the string's closing in a minute and a half still.
Okay, I'm there.
If they move out to this
back,
warehouse, again, I think it actually pulls cap, so
On us, on the right,
it
on the
could be
right.
wrong on this one.
Yeah.
Good dome.
I'm getting killed.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm stuck. I think we're okay. Just get in. I'm ulting this. Get in.
Okay. Climb up. You can climb up. Climb up. You can climb
Macro's
up right
gotta
here.
heal. Macro's gotta heal.
Macro right here. You can climb up.
I'm
Get
not
inside
seeing.
this train cart to your left. Immediately go inside train cart, and he will
Oh
heal.
no, I'm stunned.
You're good.
He's so scared. I love it.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll heal right now.
I need a med kit. Anyone
So
got
I'm
it?
gonna go. I talked about it a lot, I guess, but I haven't really I don't think I've ever in depth said why. But this warehouse, the reason it is seen as like one of the strongest places is you have this cable car, which basically stops you from getting shot from just about anywhere that you want it to. Like, so if you obviously are right where Madness is, you can only get shot from people on this track, which if anyone's shooting you from the track, they're overexposing themselves to all of train yard. So it's possible you get shot from there, but it won't be for very long. Likewise, if you want to hide from it, you can just hide on this other side, then you're only exposed like out here. But even though all these cable cars have like massive high ground on you, you're relatively safe. This is really hard to push into, even if you're up on the roof. You just have to be wary of all the holes that are around like the rooftops, and just make sure you don't get any like peacekeeper choke shots for like 120 or anything like that, because all of a sudden that changes everything.
Do I do? Come here, buddy.
Also, there's a lot of endings. There's like a very common ending out here, like in this entire general area, like right out here. There are some endings that are right out here, which warehouse is a really good spot to rotate from versus a lot of these other places. You have a lot of like cover you can kind of move up to north here. But yeah, it's basically it's a very, very safe spot and has really strong rotations in and out of it if you have to go from it.
All right. When you're fully healed, let's
trapping
shoot
up.
fence. Yeah, you're good.
Trapping up this first.
Well, we're gonna hold this. So take those fences out.
Oh, take a fence.
But also, what
Yeah,
macro I wanted to point out, what macro, I mean, obviously, again, I'm not, anytime I'm pointing out what someone does wrong, it's never like throwing shade at them. Obviously, macro, I'm sure, doesn't play Apex all that consistently, but when they were rotating in, if you are ever the Watson rotating in, don't panic when you get shot like he did. Like, he got like fucking destroyed before he got into the,
Get it. On us, on the right.
he gets destroyed before he gets into the dome. Don't
Oh no.
Hold on, stop.
he has so much time to heal right now. If you're ever the Watson in this position, because it will happen on rotations, don't just keep running because you're scared or because you want to get somewhere. Call your team, tell them stop, I have to heal. Like, the bubble is the best place to reset. You heal fast as fuck, and it's safe as hell when you kind of like catch your breath a little bit. So if you are the Watson, sometimes people will just leave the Watson alone in the bubble. Like I said, communicate to your team, be like, nah, like hold the fuck up. I gotta heal. Play on me. So I did want to point this out. Make sure do not do with this, because this bubble means nothing if you get picked right after it.
Climb up. You can climb up. Climb up. You can climb up right here.
And most of the pros, yep, told you.
Fragment.
And this is where Path comes in. This is again where Path is like the big value. Path doesn't matter all that much if you scan it. If this is like a showing train, the first circle, and the beacon showed like, you know, a more tighter spot on train, like that's still valuable information, but most people are gonna know that. Path's real value comes out once the second circle pull goes elsewhere, and most Jibby teams have zero information on that. So you can hear the surpriseness and the shocked value in Madness's voice right here.
We should get going now. We can't get choked out here.
No,
4
they
teams full
died.
crashed. Holy shit, dude.
Wait, was this the reset game?
I'm looking.
Maybe that's why I don't remember where this circle ended.
That's 3:33. We were restarting. This game will not count.
Ah, fuck. I mean, that's good and bad, but.
Not bad.
I'll still trade with you, bro.
All right, I'm gonna go.
That's
I am
fine.
going
just wanna know
to
what's saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna
pause and look at the map here. All right, I think this was the one. Oh, this is the one lose team. I think thought it was over here, but I think it ended up being out here. My 5 head calls.
Yeah, no, we have good rotate here. Let's go fast. I think we can get into a spot. I don't think we should have a problem getting a spot in tree.
All right, so again, the strong parts of this circle are definitely.
We're good.
I'm surprised. A lot of people. Hold on. A lot of people are calling.
Oh, it dropped it anyway.
I saw a lot of people say that they thought this circle would go like pull towards Harvester, like Lose team also said it would.
No, we're good.
They're good.
I guess a lot of people thought it was gonna go out here. I'm surprised a lot of people didn't see this one. This one has been so fucking common. I almost say like this one is like the new this one. But the strong spots in this circle, 100%. This building right here will guarantee you some pretty. That's what I'm saying. I was watching Lou's team yesterday, Kevin, and like Lou's obviously like a really smart player. Scrims a lot. He knows circles better than almost most. And he read this circle, like they held out in like I think this snake building or like down here, I forget exactly. They thought it was gonna pull out here, and I was just like, really? This thing pulls out here, like, yeah, this one, like, this is a really common one now, right out here. So obviously this building, it's like the lowest ground here. So again, naturally, I think a lot of people would tend to think like that this building would suck, but. Again, as I talked about yesterday, there's a lot of low ground buildings that, in theory, they should suck, but they're actually so good because nobody will push, because anyone that pushes you will just get shot at by every single other person in the game. So this building is prime real estate if you can get it. One way that these guys could get it easily, I think they just don't know which circle it is. The one way, if I were calling this, that they could get this building very easily, assuming the sorting team didn't already take it or at least scout it, is a lot of people use this sorting balloon right up here. A lot of people know the age-old trick of ballooning over here. I am mind blown, to be honest, and I'm not saying these guys don't know, but I have seen so many people not know this. But you can take this balloon that's in sorting, and you can actually go over and like same thing up here. You can land like up here and like be on top of all of these rocks. And then use that for scouting for this entire area and see what's open. I almost never see anyone do that. I don't get it. I don't think most people know you can do that. But there's a little bit of a Coach Hodsic freebie for you guys. There you go, Kevin. I know you never play this game, so now you can put that one in your rotation repertoire.
They won't.
We can take a balloon here. Play off fences.
So I mean, this tractor. I never really actually talked about this tractor. So they're taking this tractor because they want to pull in. They want to get into tree, which is fine. Again, this tractor is very similar to a lot of like areas in this early on. If anyone pushes, they're at a huge liability of just getting poked at from other teams. So when you're in a position like this, your job is to basically just like you don't want to like alpha this position and like be on top of the tractor shooting at every motherfucker that comes your way. With a position like this, you always have to take into account everybody else that's around you. With a position like this, you kind of want to just turtle in and just try to hold anyone that looks like they're coming at you off and let everybody else deal with them. There's certain ways. So I like defensive from the outside because I'd rather like this almost doesn't show enough presence. If you show it from, if you fence it from the outside, there are certain ways you can do it where like most people like won't bother to like shoot every single one of them. But it's more important that people, when you're in a position like this, like I said, it's more important that people just know you're there. And obviously, I'm sure like, you know, certain angles, yeah, people can peek and be like, all right, there's someone in there. But I feel like this does nothing for you if people actually push. Even if you throw out a bunch of fences outside that are easily shootable, like people have to spend at least like half a second to a second to at least shoot them, and that still delays their push. It's a lot. If you put all, let's say you put like all 12 of your fences outside, that'll delay them actually coming up to your door by at least a couple seconds, to the point where like those couple seconds is all it needs for another team to look their way while they're shooting out the fences and pushing up on you. So, well, there is like a whole hole that I like. So there's, let me see. So there's actually like a fence you can put on the outside. That's like, you slightly put it like right when the tracks start to, or the tires start to dip a little bit. You put it like on the outside part of it, and you can connect that all the way to the other end. And that actually enables you to have a fence outside on like this little track. And it doesn't break the door if you open it from the outside like this. That's the one I really like to do. I like to put that on both sides. I like to do a big perimeter around each. And then there's 4 fences you can put up top that are very difficult. Because a lot of people, obviously, when you're fighting around here, a lot of people like to climb up top as well. They are, unless you have high ground sight on it, you can't destroy them. So there's, nobody ever fences the roofs of these. But I think it's really crucial to at least get rid of that and make sure a team can't play that on you. Because like I said, if you do it, they can't climb up, but you can still climb up there and use that roof. So there's a big way. It's not like the most utmost of importance. It's not. I don't think a lot of teams lose because of it. But when I play Watson, I think of like the most optimal possible like fences, because your fences have to have a purpose most of the time when you're holding a spot.
Firefighter's 1 HP.
One sec. They're far up and right. They're up and right. They're trying to fight.
Cracked here. Can someone get the shots on this?
Yeah, I just don't like the all-inning fences in here. I mean, obviously, like again, Macro's a new, like he doesn't play this game competitively, so good picks, good peeks out here, good picks.
Yep.
Oh, careful.
Oh wait, is this actually the tree circle?
There.
This might be the tree circle actually. I could be wrong about the one I was talking about initially. Epic pen for these VOD reviews. Is this? Can anybody vouch? Anybody vouch for Epic pen in the chat here? Draw penis, nice, good one, good comms. Not right now. We'll give it a sec.
There's a portal here. I'm looking for aggro.
Yeah. Let us know.
Pathfinder 1 HP.
How many? Get back.
Oh shoot.
There's one knock. You guys can win this.
Okay, go in.
I'm taking.
They're porting out or something. Dome and res me. Nice. Good knock.
No, that's your boy's porting in, homie.
Hold the door. We have 2 knocks. He's inside. Go help him. He's in. No, he's in.
That's a bit of a risky dome.
Nice,
I'll be honest. That's a bit of a risky dome.
Let's go. You guys are so fucking good.
Wait, let's give it a shot actually.
He's inside.
Let's give it a shot actually. Let's do it
porting
right
out
here.
or
That's a
something.
bit of a risky
Dome
dome. Always like, and I mean, obviously it worked out. That's fine, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I think it's a good teaching opportunity for Jibby Bubbles. You don't ever like when you are playing Jibby, you want to gear your bubbles to like where you always want to think about the placement of the actual bubble and like what that means for the other team as well.
That's me.
Again, obviously it worked out, that's fine. But this dome right here,
Hold the door.
I guess we gotta wait till he gets res.
We have 2 knocks.
So this dome right here, half of it is outside. Hold up. I don't know how much this is actually gonna matter, but half of it's outside. And then the other half is still like in here in the building. So if there was one of them and they were feeling awfully frisky and rambunctious, they could easily walk into the... Alright, now I'm overdoing it. But we could easily walk into the dome and like toss nades out here. You know what I mean? How do I erase? Is there a hotkey for erase? Control Shift F5? Undo is Control Shift 6? Please tell me I can... That's some crazy fucking hotkeys. So like, ideally, like... Again, the bubble worked, everything worked fine, but this is kind of, I think it's a good learning, like, process or something to really, like, take into account. Ideally, like, as he's running up, he should have thrown the dome, like, out here somewhere, so, like, the ending bubble was something like this, where, like, the team had to actually actively push the bubble if they wanted to get in, rather than, if they wanted to, they could have, like, sent in nades in here. That's more, again, I'm not criticizing what Wig did here at all, obviously it worked out, it's more of just, like, to teach you guys, be smart about your Jibby bubbles.
Wow, it's
They
ending
could have
here.
ate.
Holy
They could have
fuck.
ate shit. Okay, so this is that tree circle. Never mind.
In my.
All right, so I want to hear what like what I want to hear them
Someone just popped a
start.
cell near me?
I want to hear them start planning. They probably won't do anything until the circle
No,
actually
I'm
starts
good. I'm
closing.
good. I'm looking
They're
for.
probably just gonna
possible-
match out here for a bit,
KP.
which is fine.
I'm so
Nothing
good.
wrong
I'm
with
not
that.
going far enough that I can't queue back.
No reason to
Team
move right
hard
now.
fighting
No
here.
reason to make
This
any
rate
big
is queuing
commitments.
shit. Right, you
I
can
want
just, you can
to.
just
I like
stay around
hearing
me and
about
heal
what
up
they
drone.
like to
It's fine.
what they like to do and stuff like that.
There's so many syringes. It's fine.
Yeah. Not worried about that. Yeah, it's ending here.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Wow.
fine.
Yeah, we have zone still.
Yeah, we still have
Yeah, we have zone, we have
Team's
zone.
fine.
Wow.
Yeah, but team's fine. We're
So
gonna have a free rotation underneath here, most likely on the next circle.
I want to hear what they're talking about first.
Okay, what we could do.
They are thinking as well. Fuck it. We'll go over it. So they think so right now the plans that they're making. The plans that they're making are for, and you always have to take that into mind. The plans that they're making are for the corner of the corner building, because there are a lot of common endings there in the corner. So they're trying to think, fuck, we're on the far end of that circle. How the hell do we get in? Right now, what's most important for them is I wouldn't even say to look out here. I mean, obviously they want to keep people off their building, but what's really important is that someone is constantly scouting out here and finding anything that's open for them to be able to play that they can hold with relative ease, because they're not getting back there. Their goal is going to be to have to play like with zone. If anything, they got the Jibby, they can afford to do that, and then play anywhere that's like these areas. This area underneath, obviously you're susceptible to teams up here, but even these teams up here, like on this catwalk, aren't all free. They don't get to just exist up there for free. A lot of people are going to be focusing them later on, but keeping to the low ground here isn't going to be a bad idea, because this is such a really weird terrain where everyone can shoot at each other.
Putting in front of me, right here.
So at this point, what they should be doing is definitely need to keep an eye on their back. They're not hard pressed to move it here by any means. You know, with the Jibby, they can't afford to and Watson, they can afford to play most of this relatively unplayable terrain playable. So they're not super hard pressed, but it is definitely in their best interest to be like constantly looking how they can get a little bit further in. So maybe we'll have one of them kind of always be scouting. Maybe even like have Madness do it, because he's the Wraith with purple armor. Always be kind of looking for an opportunity, seeing where teams are fighting, what you might be able to like get a quick pick on and then push into. But they're not hard pressed to move here. But they are in their mind. It seems like I think in Madness's mind they are, because he thinks it's going to end out here. So that changes a lot of the speed of things.
That's the kid. Wait, that's the kid that was in this building to the right.
No, I
See,
think so too. I think so.
that's a bit of a better like that. This tractor right here is something you'd probably see me do a little bit more. This way you know that there are people here, like no matter what. You don't have to like peek into it at like a crazy angle. And again, like even like if they wanted to push up, they'd have to make the noise that they're breaking these traps first, rather than like how many times are you holding a position either in like ranked or scrims, and then all of a sudden you hear like, wait, someone's next to us, wait, someone's running up on us, right? These outside traps, they don't have to deter people from like walking into them. Then like like traps being like putting traps in areas. Sorry, I stumbled for a bit. Putting traps in areas where they're forced to be shot out is a strength of the ability, because it literally tells you, hey, we're right next to you. We're coming to get you. You know. So don't be afraid to put traps out there to just annoy with people and fuck with people, because that is still a strength.
Right on right side.
This is good at Madness though
Well, we
to
could
do.
play tunnel.
I am always a fan of this kind of like
tunnel.
cheeky, like peeking out like this. Timmy actually does this a lot, and it gives me so much anxiety. But until it fucks up the team hard, like I haven't seen him fuck it up yet. I'm a fan of like being being aggressive like this and putting teams kind of in like weird positions. Because if they all just sit here in this little building, like they kind of give this team a lot of free like room to do whatever they want. Madness is basically coming up to this team and being like, yo, I actually have a bigger wiener than all three of you combined. So just make sure you remember that in your next rotation. That's basically what Madness is doing.
Tunnel side.
That's good to do. It's good to do.
Yeah. Oh, on the top, we could even go there if we wanted
Okay,
to.
listen to me. If we want to do this now, we got to.
I am
There's a
standing, yes.
two-man squad right here, and they're fucking hurt. This is free, free KP right here.
You sure it's two? You sure
Not a
it's two?
fucking.
Yes. We're getting
going?
shot
Am I
from
going
behind.
with you
I need a
guys?
water boy.
You're getting shot from behind. Whatever. That's fine. That was a bad call by me. My bad. It is a two-man, but you were getting hard shot from back. Do you need med kit?
No, I'm okay.
Okay,
Doesn't
that
hurt
was
to
bad.
try. Doesn't hurt to
Push
try.
again, push again on us.
Shit.
Oh, now maybe it does. Well, I don't know about.
I did not want to do that.
I was gonna say I don't know about that portal.
I need you, I need you, I need you.
Big nade actually. Really big nade.
Nice.
dead.
Good shit. That nade
out of
was
our
huge.
game.
Oh, man,
Shit.
You're good, you're good.
Full healing. Full healing as well.
I talked about this yesterday.
Okay, the 2 stack on our back is trying to push up.
Behind us.
Yeah, I'm ulting us, behind.
No, I'm so sorry.
You're good, you're good.
That sucks.
Wait, come to me right now. There's a purple armor swap.
I'm going back. Wait, you deal.
It's not over yet though.
There's a full team.
It's a whole team, bro. What are they doing?
I mean, they're making the right call.
One.
I'm dead. What are they doing?
It's the team before them that didn't make the right call.
Watch your back, Lance. Watch your back. Yo, Massey, move to the resume if I come out here.
No.
Oh, you're
Damn
so
it.
weird. What are you doing?
That's the new, like, you're so bad at the game
Damn it.
in Apex. Everyone just says, and I do it too all the time. I call people weird instead of bad.
I'm dead.
Alright, so I'm assuming
Recharging my shields.
lag. Rito. Did I tell Madness I was reviewing? I think Madness was waiting for me to review. I told him yesterday I was going to. Madness was here yesterday to watch too.
3
So.
teams just died of the ring.
Also, hello, Madness.
Yeah, because all trying to do
All right. Before, I don't know how much you actually rat here, but I'm gonna go back because definitely want to talk about some shit in that fight. Because there's some good stuff. This is something I preach a lot.
Come to me right now. There's a
Something
purple
I preach a
a 2
lot.
stack on our back is trying to.
And this is actually like, I'm not gonna get into Revenant, but this is one reason what I'm about to talk about is why I like Revenant. Crow, thanks for the follow. But I'm not gonna do it just because Kevin's here and he's just gonna be like, Lamau, oh my god, this dude, this fucking boomer. I'm just not going to. We're gonna talk about this fight though. All right, so
You're getting shot from behind.
So obviously this team, so this whole push, I think a little bit short-sighted by this team. I mean, obviously, like, they cracked the shit out of Wig, right? Like, they're making the call. Wig's 1 HP right now. Dalai Lama, thank you for the get this up to, I don't know if is it Dim E-Boy or Dime Boy? But anyways, that just sucks. I mean, that's, Madness' team fell victim to just the standard BR, like, hey, we won the fight, but we got pushed by someone, but, you know, we're low, and then just the third party comes and cleans up. Obviously, this team that just cracked Wig is shouting, he's one shot, let's see if we can, like, get a pick on him. But they definitely full committed. I think they did get a pick
That's
on
fine. That was bad call. I mean, my
Macro.
bad. It is a 2-man, but you were getting hard shot from back. You need that kit?
I'll watch it again.
Okay,
I don't know what the support was. I have to imagine Madness is a bit of a fat finger.
I did not want to do that.
Alright, this nade though is like, people undervalue, especially in this building, any types of buildings that look like this. Nading is like, even if you're in someone's face, nading is the biggest sometimes the biggest thing you can do. I mean, I wouldn't say like all 3 of you sit there and just start spamming nades at them. But like this one nade fucked them so hard. Like it didn't, like, you know, it didn't do like 300 damage, but I think it cracked one of them. It did like, I think 50 to one of the other guys. But the biggest thing is it disincentivized them to push and allowed Madness' team to reset a little bit. You see Wig healing here a bit. But like thermals are the best nade in the game, hands down. And this is, and like it really shows their strength right here. You throw any of the other nades, like an arc star or a frag grenade right here, all people are gonna do are weave it in and out of the bubble as soon as like it's about to blow up, right, and protect themselves. You throw a thermal and there's actually either they sit there and take all the damage and try to trade a pick, or they get back because it's just a bad push up.
Step.
Yeah, he cracked the gold armor, and then the other guy ran off. The Wraith, I think, queued out actually.
All dead.
I don't know. But that nade right there, like, I'm always a big fan of like of one person either like spamming thermals in games. Like you see, if you watch me play ranked a lot, you'll see like if a team runs up on us by surprise, sometimes I'll literally just sit there and fucking throw a shit ton of thermal grenades at them. It's a really solid, especially in these buildings where you can't maneuver the nades. It's a really, really solid strategy. That was a very weird. If Madness decided to shoot here. If Madness decided to shoot here, he probably, this fight looks a lot different. They could have won it still, but they're obviously already at a huge HP disadvantage. I think Macro starts the fight getting kind of clapped.
Push again on us.
Did not want to do that.
Yeah. Wig cancels medkit, macro loses all of his... They're at a massive HP disadvantage right now. This nade basically saved everything.
I need to heal.
Cracked the Wraith Qs. He did a lot of damage to the Pathfinder. Pass one. Good cleanup by Wig. Yeah.
Dead.
All dead.
The fuck out of our game.
Shit. You're good.
Full healing.
So here...
Full healing as well.
You're good.
Okay, the 2-stack on our back is trying to push up.
Behind us.
Yeah. I'm ulting us. Behind.
No, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
The ult definitely should have come out a little bit sooner. As soon as Wig heard shots right outside, the ult should have come out immediately to stop
right
him.
now.
But that could be a double-edged sword because sometimes that'll force the team to push in. But at least you'll know they'll be coming. You will hold the angle. Nade spam. Nade spamming is really big here. Obviously, Madness is out. I don't know how the other guys are. But like nade spamming like this corridor would have been really good for them to be able to
There's a
reset.
purple armor swap.
Like nades in these buildings are either like complete game winners from like just you wipe the shit out of everybody involved,
It's a whole team, bro.
or they're game winners in terms of delaying so much that you can actually get a lot of heals off.
One.
Do never undervalue nades. This is why you see me, for example. Personally, I love PK Wingman because the ammo stack you need in ranked. I do 1 stack of heavy, 1 stack of shotgun. In scrims, I'll do 2 stacks of heavy because there's just a lot more just poking. Get my basic amount of meds, and then everything else is nades after that. Because nades are so fucking busted if you use them properly. Yeah, Madness, no, absolutely. Thermals are so fucking good. Best nade in the game, like literally hands down.
Yeah.
Yo, Massey, move to the res if I come out here.
What's up, Center? Thanks for being here, man.
No.
I don't know if you watched Madness, but I did do your other
So weird.
games
What are you doing?
yesterday, but I couldn't finish it all. I got so fucking tired.
Major grief for the
So, but that'll be all
Damn.
up on the tube.
Yes.
That'll all be up on the tube. I'm gonna speed up ahead a little bit here, though. I mean, that's just unlucky. They literally, like, they didn't do anything bad. They didn't do anything bad from, like, a strategy standpoint. They didn't, you know, they shouldn't have, it's not like they should have pushed up early or anything. They literally, I don't want to say griefed, but that's basically, like, that's that standard. The other team saw an opening, they lost the fight, and then Madness's team couldn't reset before the third party comes in. And that's what happens in these later circles. It's the one thing that you always have to kind of watch out for. I think the only thing they probably could have done better was, like I said, was maybe as soon as the fight was over, maybe Wig ults immediately in order to deter anyone, if they even were thinking of coming, to get close. I think that's the only thing they really absolutely could have done better, other than just, like, I mean, that sucks. That's third party. They didn't have a dome to reset the fight. They played the fight beautifully. They were at a massive HP disadvantage, but they still won the fight. It's just getting the third party coming in. Dime Boy or Dim E Boy, I still don't know. Thank you for gifting a sub to Madness.
Teams just died in the ring.
The dirty word, yes, the G word. We can't use the G word,
Man, I see
otherwise you'll end up on Twitter.
I see you res these with a TP.
So
have
you
TP.
res this with a TP? Holy
I
shit!
still think you res this. I still think you res it. Man, we can. My shots, dude.
Damn, looking like Euro over here, Madness. Jesus,
Pointing
dude.
out.
Sorry, was that too soon?
Oh wait. Oh, the res is available. That's why you're saying that.
Watch out. They might have TP'd on it. Yeah, they might have TP'd on it. That's what I was saying. Yeah, this might be better for us to go get the loot and have one more person.
Yeah. My bad.
I'm
my
about to
bad,
scratch
my
for the
bad.
night, but the rest of the games are pretty trash. So I know see a lot of
No,
fuck ups. Hey,
I'm so
I
down with
like
this.
to see.
Yeah, just run away. Just run
I
away.
love seeing
Run
like
away.
the success and the failures
Run any
because it's a
direction
very
for
good
us, that kind of thing?
like
Yeah.
compare and contrast.
Just
You
run away.
actually went for the
you
res.
two need to
That's
get
so
loot.
fucking big balls. I love it though. That's
Where we going?
I'm going. Just go max.
I'm going down here.
You're fine. That one for you.
Dre Nilla. I was gonna say, imagine not into that guy. Yeah, there's not much you can do after that game's scuffed after that.
I don't know if I got that KP.
Oxy still.
Honest. All right, so wait, maybe this is the one. Hold on. No, sorry. I think this is the one, Kevin, if you're still here, that Lou thought was gonna pull over here. Because I remember, because Lou's team was running Pathfinder, they scanned the beacon immediately, and I remember calling it was going to be a tree circle based off the second circle. I think this is the one right here that I was talking about last game, where most people, or I saw a lot of people in my chat also saying they thought it was going to end here. But I think this is the one that ends down here. Yeah, it is. It is, 100%.
Good.
You have one? I'm taking it then.
Yeah, it's over.
Hold on, we'll use the Apex Legends interactive map. So it's gonna be this. I believe this game is this circle where it ends. Here we go, baby. Coaching coming in hot right here, where the circle ends. Can I make the line thinner? I think this. Yeah. So this is the one that ends right here. The strong spots that you want to look for, like I was saying, holding sorting. Let's use a different color for the strong positions. Holding sorting here is really, really strong, only because if you are able to just like win all of this. It allows you to transition easily to the tracks out here. I don't want that. It's ugly. I need like an actual pen, dude. What the hell's the button? Dude, I need to redo these hotkeys. It allows you to like transition to the tracks here. A lot of these circles, I don't remember exactly where this one ends, but a lot of them usually end to like the right to the north or the south of these tracks. Where, again, the tracks are really, really strong for the most part. The best spot is, if you want to just get placement, is probably right here. Because again, this is on like the very low ground. If anyone chooses to kind of like try to bum rush push you, like you saw the fight against Madness's team last game where they got pushed into that building, and that's like a like this. I think that was this building. Yeah, that was this one. Like this building is pretty easy. Don't mind my circles. It's pretty easy to get away unscathed pushing this building because there's like a big cliff here, so like, you know, there's not a lot of like easy shots coming in from like outside teams. So this is like a pretty secluded push, and it wasn't a bad push at all by the third party. I mean, obviously it worked out well for them, but this is one of those buildings where if anyone pushes it, you get shot from these boys, you get shot from anyone up here. You get shot from anyone that's holding like this area. This is pretty decent high ground. There isn't like the most cover of it, but you can use the elevation to make it work. So if you want just placements, if you're playing a very placement heavy oriented team comp, this right here is your goal. This area up here is also very strong. What's the eraser? Oh, I'm getting them down though. I'm getting them down. So this area up here is strong as well. But the high ground, not necessarily the inside is strong too, but like eventually you're literally choking yourself in a choke. Eventually you want to get to once the circle closes, like when the circle is like out here, like if this is the whole ring, you don't want to play up top because everybody will poke at you from every fucking direction. Once that circle closes and is something like assuming it ends out here, but it's something like maybe like this. That's all of a sudden when this little blue spot gets super strong, right? So this is all, but this is a very strong spot. So if you are on the inside and no one has taken it yet, once the circle closes and you kind of want to start setting up there, not a bad idea to even put like preliminary fences to let people know that somebody is there or planning on taking it. But you can easily just like kind of wraith portal in and out from the side door up here. Okay, but these are the strong spots. Madness's team in particular, if I were them, I would scout out. I don't know if they know that this circle yet. I haven't actually we haven't waited to see the comms. But again, this is what I was talking about. This sorting balloon right here. A lot of people don't know. You know, everyone knows about that. You can balloon over here, and then you could walk over all of these rocks and kind of go wherever the hell you want. Not everybody knows that you can do that in this area too. And that's a really strong spot because this is hard to scout without actually like wide peeking the fuck out of it and being there and putting yourself in a bad spot. You know, if you're a wraith, you have to like go out here to like make sure you can see people in there. So using this balloon to actually get up on these rocks is like massive, but I don't see like anyone using this sorting balloon for that. Most people just like go past it if anything. But yeah, that's the preliminary. That's just the preliminary analysis of the game. You know, the strong spots and stuff, things to look out for. How you would play that if you were a up and coming scrimmer.
Okay, let's focus up. All right, we need to get to the backside harbor. 100%.
Yeah. I think if we hold that, we get to end game.
It's gonna be really hard to hold that. That's one of the hardest parts of holding the game.
Yeah, it is pretty tough.
See,
to
Lou's
hold.
team thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I know. I look at this circle and I think
we
South
try to hold like
there.
a height, like up there.
That's even harder.
And then,
I think.
You don't want that smoke, dude. You don't
I'm gonna be honest.
get
If
off
it's
me.
gonna end up here, train your
My
tunnels
school when I was a youngin, when I was an actual Zoomer,
come with our armors, to be fair.
No.
we had typing
They can't-
classes very
like,
early,
anything with
and
that
trust me,
thing,
you better believe your boy
rotating
was
right in front of
infatuated
him.
with that shit.
Don't shoot. Let him go.
They're cut off.
Yeah, let him go. Hey, where's the third? I don't see
Right
the
there.
third.
Just let it go. Just whatever. Let it go.
Very disciplined play there. It's a good call.
Oh,
They really?
Oh, someone's sniping me.
Yeah, you're good in the back left. Put us in nice.
I need to give me.
That's a good play. You don't want to shoot at every little living body you see.
Almost
That was
cracked
smart.
this kid. He's probably back. He's not gonna be good. I would say yeah, it's the system. There's so many. That's why I hate Harvester. This is like the shittiest part of the map.
Yeah, this is I really don't like holding this at all.
Yeah, Harvster's fucking weird.
But like it's end zone, you know what I mean? Like fuck.
It should be. Let's see. 2 minutes.
All the squads are still here, so they lost teammates. A lot of them have lost teammates.
4 down. Yeah, that's how people play. Like the second someone goes down, they're just not
Yeah,
gonna
so but
aggro.
these spots up here are also really strong for that circle. I mean, you'll eventually have to rotate out of them. There aren't too many circles that end right on Harvester, but you will eventually have to rotate out. But like these two like office areas and like this, again, I mentioned this a lot last night. This area in here is a decent spot to put or to hold, but you have to make it's hard. As soon as these two teams get horny for you, it's going to be very difficult. So these two areas in here, like the offices and the ramps, is actually super ideal.
Come on, give us sorting.
Like,
going there. Ooh,
Oh, we
it might
got
be
it.
ending down. It's ending there.
It's ending down here. It's ending down that way. We could wrap sorting.
yeah, they still have options here. You still have a lot of options here. They could go. Oh, wait a minute. Unnecessary lines time, baby. Let's go. They could, if they really wanted to be creative, they could go back around here. They still have this balloon to work with. They can go back through here. I definitely wouldn't advise going through here because Harvester is just such a fuck zone, and not in a fun way. I think wrapping around would absolutely be the call. It would add a lot of time to their rotation, but like this is definitely taken. You have to imagine this is definitely taken. I think definitely wrapping sorting here would be a good call because, like I said, if you can maintain that you are the only team left in sorting, like in this whole area, you get the whole high ground with the tracks, which is huge. So I think if they actually end up wrapping here, it's not a bad idea at all, and they have a lot of avenues to do that.
And go back.
Yeah, but
It's
the
up to
question
you.
is, do you think we're gonna get a better? The only spot I would want
It's
to
not a
get
bad
right now
idea to
is
go.
here.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a team that was in?
There's
the
definitely a team
area?
there.
Wouldn't we be like, we would see them, wouldn't we?
So I'm kind of unlucky here. I got R9 with no attachments. The only problem.
Guess what I can do for you, dude?
Rick.
You got aim assist, dog. I don't want
That's what I'm saying. I don't need it.
to. Okay, climb up with me. We take train tunnel.
Wait a minute.
Then I can literally just port out of the train tunnel into the bottom.
He drops a gulp.
Rick.
You got aim assist, dog. I don't want to.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need it.
Okay, climb up with me. We take train
That's
tunnel.
so good, dude. Holy
And
shit.
then we can,
Yeah,
then I
you're
can
right.
literally
Wait,
just
you
port
don't
out of
need
the
it.
train tunnel into the bottom.
Gold barrel is a PC
Yes,
attachment.
let's kick all each other down. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Next, who's going
I'm
back?
out,
I
I'm out
can't
of the way,
believe
I'm out of
that.
the way. I'm out of the way.
And he's not wrong.
That is. All right.
A controller player on a naked R9 is a lot better than a
I think- yeah, I
mouse and
think we
keyboard
could- I
player
think
on a
we could
naked
hold
R9.
tunnel.
Like that's
We
a
got-
smart change. I just did not expect
You think
it.
that's better than here?
Yep, for sure. It's so
Alright.
hard to hold that, bro. It's so hard.
Alright.
Let me hold tunnel.
All right, I'm.
Yo, put your ult.
Tunnel is strong here. Tunnel is actually strong. This tunnel is like, I have to imagine this tunnel is the least like walked or like traversed area in this entire map, dude. People avoid this tunnel like it's the plague. They avoid this shit like it was bunker back in Kings Canyon. I mean, obviously you don't want to get caught here. You're just like kind of fucked, so I don't blame them. But this tunnel is really fucking strong because it allows you direct like access. There's like a lot of cover down here if you need to drop down and hide from like teams up here. But it obviously allows you to basically guarantee nobody's at your back. You can also be really like cheesy and like hide up on the banisters
Yeah, and then you're
and the
gonna do like
rafters,
some simple
beams.
three-stack
There it
fences
is.
across
But
on each side. Just so
it sucks a little bit rotating out of like down the southern end for sure because all of sorting can shoot you. But yeah, now with the addition of this building, there's all of like before all of this was there was like a building. It was like it started like here and then like went over here, right? So you had all this open area. Now, I mean, this building kind of makes tunnel rotations a little bit better because of how much immediate cover you have from dropping down. So again, the only place this tunnel really sucks from is like anything in sorting that's kind of looking your way. So if you're ever holding this tunnel, and especially if it's, I feel like that you only ever hold this tunnel for endings that end down here in the south. All you have to do is just watch out for deer, because no one's gonna come in and push the tunnel. If anyone sees fences and tunnels, everyone avoids it. So if you ever hold any of the tunnels in this game, always put fences out in the open just so people know that you're there, because nobody ever pushes tunnels. It's just there's no reason to. There's no fucking
Shit,
cover
that
to do
bubble
so.
burst, That's so broken.
Oh, we still have circle. Wow.
Ooh.
We're so good. We're so good, baby. Let's go. Huge. It's ending here.
It's like ending like right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
right there.
that-
Yeah,
it's pulling way out. We're not even in safe. So we might
Okay.
have to just play this backside then.
Yeah, we might have to.
Do we leave yet? No, I feel like we're fine.
I'm
Right?
gonna look.
Look to see if look to see if trailer's open. I would like to play that because it's got good rotate to the back left side.
Trailer's open. Trailer's open.
Should we take?
Can we do it?
Yeah.
Oh, my shit's
Oh no.
I was wondering, it seemed a lot faster than normal.
Get up to wig. Get up to wig. I'm gonna
Alright,
push
so
this.
all of this is good,
immediately.
what they're saying. Playing the backside isn't a bad idea. Playing the trailer is a good idea.
I don't know if we take this then.
This might be a premature
Okay, I'm
portal,
going
though.
back.
Hold on.
They're looking at you. They're looking at you. I don't think we
Not premature as in, it just might not be
Going back,
reach
going
it
back,
long
going
enough.
back.
If you guys can get here, we can fuck them up.
They don't have dome. This is
Get back
risky.
in the can. Get back in the can. Get back in the can. I
Okay.
don't think it's
All right.
worth it. It's worth it.
All right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Did we take
It's
a
so
break?
hard to move a
Their
large
team was rotating
distance.
to it now.
It's so hard to move a large distance in these
And I
later
got
circles. You
hard
kind of have
damage,
to take what
but
you can
yeah, they're
get.
taking it right now.
Yeah. It's a really good spot.
Look at the thing,
Being
look at
able to play, I think the best move from here would be to play the back.
Yes,
To kind of
yes.
like, to play the, obviously there's a team in here, but it would be best, I think, to play like kind of this roof and just like this back area and make sure no one's there. Secure the shit out of this and then kind of move that. Because this is a nasty head glitch. You just have to really worry about, the team in here can like, they have a lot of different doors and exits and stuff. You got to make sure you got Watson fences on all of that. Because they can like kind of peek up from any of the cheat. Like if you're all three like huddled in this like corner, for example, holding this this roof, they can just poke out from like really cheesy angles and try to get picks. So
Yes, I hit him.
it's a little hard to hold because you have to spread out a little bit. So it's a little risky, but it's definitely, if you can hold it, it's a really strong
We're in a
spot.
better position here.
I think. Do we wait for the?
If they
zone
can
to
play,
play?
I don't
yes.
think so. Playing tracks here is difficult because whatever team is in sorting right now, which I believe might be Lyric's team right now, they have the ground advantage right here. Because look how look this area, this entire area that Madness' team is in is extremely open. So before they basically Lyric's team, if Lyric's team is probably going to play the tracks. It would be a very hard fight for Madness' team just because they literally have zero cover out here. They need to do enough damage. They need to do enough damage to make sure Lyric's team pops their Jibby bubble first. I'm assuming they're running Jibby. I could be wrong about that. But let's just assume for the safe example that they are. They have to do enough damage for them to pop Jibby bubble, which is going to be hard for them to actually pop the Jibby bubble because they have a lot of cover to work around here and actually fight. So it's just a really this is why I was saying the team that's in sorting is going to be the king of the tracks rotation, especially if they're the last ones left. It's just tough. They could fight for it. It's just they have to be, if they have another Jibby, they have to be, Madness' team needs to have the second bubble down. Because if you are fighting another Jibby team and you have one as well, and you bubble first, you've basically lost.
And we're playing on this team's height.
Oh, they took trailer? Okay.
You have to pay attention to
they can
climb
play
with
tracks.
squads. They can climb up here.
If they play tracks, though, they do have to be worried about this team. Because I'm assuming that there's a team up here. I didn't get to actually watch this because I think Lou's team died and I just went to the next game. I don't remember, though.
What'll be really
No, actually, no. Lou's team, no, they didn't
big
die.
for you right now, Macro,
Lou
if you
actually
can, when
ratted
you get
out
down here,
pretty hard.
is if you can get fences
Yeah, there was a
across
team
their
up here,
door.
now that I remember. There was a
Okay.
team up here.
Okay,
So
that's
playing
what-
tracks
that's
can
what
be
they're
tough.
if you do it. If I can
All
do
you
it.
have,
Yes.
if you don't have the long range to poke this team off. Because nobody else at this point is probably fucking with this team. This team up on this high ground up here
Don't
could,
trust it.
but they're
Is that the
probably
rat?
also.
Can we team shoot
Look at
this?
rat. Yeah, I'm teaching.
Ah, fuck.
Oh, no.
But you definitely need the weapons for it. I think they're running double. So the big problem actually right now with holding tracks for this team is that they have to make sure they can bully and pressure teams. But I think they're running double R9. Wig and Madness definitely have an R9. Macro, I don't think. I'm not sure what Macro has, to be honest. But without long range weapons, this is why I always kind of say if you need to plan your end game with like the appropriate weapons. This is one of those circles where a longer range, like a scout or a wingman, would do you a lot better. But I mean, obviously, like Madness is like beams. Don't get me wrong with the R9, but this is definitely one of those circles where like long range, you can hold better spots. The better equipped you are for it, right?
For 30?
No. That was ours. That should have been ours.
I mean, SPM has been in the game
I
since the
hit him for
beginning,
30.
though, Mo.
Alright, we're gonna have to drop down.
They know we're here now.
Drop. Yeah, we're getting ready to drop either way. We have
Right.
to.
I'm ready to go whenever.
They're porting in. They're porting in. Wait, they're porting.
I am glad that a lot of people are finally
No,
realizing
they're
Kings
just looking for
Canyon's
loot.
not
Stay
all
inside
that.
the zone.
Alright, let's drop.
Not all that.
Oh,
It really isn't.
Dropping.
I think this is a very smart area to play though.
It's on this right side right here.
Yeah.
Playing
this
back here.
can get them a lot of kill points.
I'm cracking.
I'm looking.
Right here. So much free fucking damage.
Wait, don't jump back. Don't jump back.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, we have to watch your team on their team. 100% on back.
Got one.
Nice.
OP down.
Oh
Rate is
shoot,
fucked
my
up.
ultimate's not in zone.
Right.
Yeah, get rid of that ult.
It doesn't need to be.
You're right. You're right.
It doesn't need to be. That team's looking for poke. This is gonna be a little rough.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I agree, King Caldo. I just don't.
I'm at 95.
I just get tired. I just get so tired of seeing people go, man, World's Edge trash
there's a rat
contains
right there.
way better. I'm like,
And Shriller.
Wow, that's really
it's not as
unlucky.
good as you really like.
Yeah, we should have just.
You think it's good because you miss it,
Nothing we can do.
and you're
Nothing we
nostalgic
can do.
about it. It's not as good as you really think it is.
Bro,
it's not a bad map. I like it better for pubs.
Yeah, whoa.
What if I port back up and we hold top? Top train track. No one's.
Yeah.
Oh, that team. No, they're not gonna really have
no.
height.
Port back up.
That team really won't have height.
Up to you. It's up to you. I think they play.
Get up there, but I don't know if your wit's gonna reach, but you might take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, you might take.
Yeah, you're gonna take so much damage if you do that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get up there.
It's a little too risky.
Can we play here? We can play behind this rock. We play behind this rock. 100%.
Yeah, but we gotta play the team underneath then. That's
Just
what.
fight him. Just fight him.
Can you dropping in fences on their door?
All right, so looking at this circle, because I haven't talked about it at all. Yeah.
Up there.
All right, this area is very. This actually like. I mean, no one's on the tracks though, so it doesn't actually matter as much. But this area is a lot of why. I mean, I guess someone could take it with like path, or a team could get up here. But like the low ground here, and the strongest part of these types of circles, and this wasn't really true until Watson came into the game, is obviously like your general shooter theory is high ground is king, right? If you have the high ground, you win. You have all the control. In these types of scenarios, the low ground is actually the low ground underneath the tracks with a Watson is king. Like this, the high ground is very good, and it will secure you probably a top 2. And then you have some options when you want to like jump off and play. But low ground, like down here and stuff like that with Watson, if you are like the only team there, is really fucking strong. Because they can't nade spam you at all. They can't use any utility to displace you. They just have to jump down and kind of shoot you. So a lot of this area is probably going to get fought for. But there are, I like the terrain of this area a lot because there's so much you can kind of like work around. A lot of these like little rocks, these poles, these beams. There's a lot to work around here. At this point, they kind of just have to, if they can get rid of this team down here below them, perfect. But they're probably going to have to just go for anything that's open out here. They could do a port dome play. A port dome play would actually be kind of smart if this, I don't know if this team is still down here, but this team that's in here is the only team that's really a big threat to them. By porting and then going through and then doming immediately when the circle starts moving, gives Madness's team the edge for sure. They can easily fuck this team coming in. But yeah, or they could walk with the dome. If there is no team here, then the answer is to just walk with the zone and dome when you have to.
Can we play here? We can play behind this rock. We play behind this rock. 100%.
Yeah, but we gotta play the team underneath then.
Just fight them. Just fight them.
Can you dropping in fences on their door?
I did another one.
Yes, drop right here, drop it in this corner, and then go straight across as far as you can. As far as you can. There you go.
Yeah, I like the buildings.
You're
in
good,
Kings
you're good,
Canyon
you're
more.
good,
I like
you're
the buildings and the points of
I just
interest a
almost
lot more
cracked him, I
in
cracked him,
Kings
I cracked
Canyon.
him.
But I think
Madness,
overall,
now,
I think
port
World's
now.
Edge
You want me to port now?
plays better.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
have it ready.
What rock? This one?
Yeah. Play behind that rock.
Okay. Got it.
You have ultimate or no, Mac?
Really good
I
spot
am
here.
I'm 61. I'm at 61.
Really good spot here. Very cozy.
I'm taking. We're gonna throw bubble.
No,
That's what I'm saying, like,
yeah,
there's a
do
lot
not
of,
throw
like,
until we
small
start
little
taking
shit.
shots.
Also, good call. Good call.
Start fencing this off too. In front of us right here.
Just raid this beams right here. We're gonna have to fight this.
Yeah, it's fine. She went deep. We're fine. Stay here.
Yeah, you're actually good. Good call by Wig. You don't have to go. You don't have to go crazy here. A lot of teams are gonna fall
They're
here.
gonna run it behind us.
You don't have to do anything crazy.
behind
at
my
first.
arc. I'm destroying them.
I need a bubble.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine.
Oh,
Oh man.
this is why, and this is exactly kind of.
Wow.
I
that
kinda
team
figured
came
that was
out
gonna
of
happen.
Nowhere.
Fine.
We're gonna run it.
All right,
Behind
so
us.
100%. Watch behind.
Play my arc.
Fine. We're fine. Stay here.
Yeah.
Right there. So obviously Madness wants this kill, right? Madness wants to get rid of these teams. Makes sense.
Raise his beams right here. We're gonna.
This is what I was kind of saying. I was agreeing with Wig right here, where Wig said we're fine, stay right here. There's no reason to really have to force this right here. This seems very like urgent and rushed.
Like this.
Them focusing hard on this fight, they use Madness used a lot of nades. I think, or like 2 nades. I think the other guys used probably some nades too.
They're gonna run it. They're gonna run.
They. Like, them forcing the issue right now doesn't change anything from them forcing the issue within, like, the next 20 seconds. When you're in a position like this and a team rotates in front of you, if they're not directly fucking with you, you should not worry about them. At least for the time being. You don't worry about any of the teams that are in the circle until that circle closes and you are ready to go. You know no one's coming up behind you on your back. This all could have been avoided if they had just kind of, like, if they weren't as horny for that team.
It.
I don't think it's a good call to go for that team.
Play my arc.
See, Wig actually is super focused on just watching behind, and that's exactly what they should have done. Again, like, this team does not pose a direct threat. They are never going to come out here to try to fight them. Again, obviously you want kills and kill points and stuff like that, but it's not necessary. What's more important in general in these endgame circles, especially if you're on the edge like right here, is you just make sure your back is covered. And then just go from there. As soon as that circle closes, turn back around and start thinking about what's the next move. You don't have to fuck with anybody that's in the circle. But them focusing super hard on this.
I'm destroying them.
They could have gotten these kills for sure. But yeah, Wig takes a lot of pick damage where he didn't need to.
Oh man.
And those guys come in for free.
Wow, that team came out of nowhere.
You have to always make sure your back's closed. There's a lot of people that play ring now, especially with Jibby. I mean, that team I don't think was playing Jibby. I think it was Lou's team. But you just always make sure your back is clear. That is the biggest thing. Right there. They did not have to fuck with that one team. If they ain't fucking with you, don't fuck with them. Exactly. That's one thing a lot of, like, and I'm not saying these guys are guilty of it, but in general, that's something a lot of teams don't understand when it comes to, like, when you're in those, like, awkward, like, long-range circles and you're in a pretty decent spot. I hate those teams that, like, shoot you, like, that, like, way across the map. Like, I get it, like, if you're bored or maybe, like, you just want to shoot people because you haven't done it. But, like, there are sometimes, like, I'll see teams, like, I'll see a team in a position, and I'll see teams rotating around them, and they'll be shooting me from across the map. It's like, you have to be smart about every shot every team that you shoot at has to be for a particular purpose. You have to be trying to accomplish something with it. Because the smart teams, like, you kind of almost have to be like a fucking shepherd, herding the sheep when you're in a strong spot. You have to be shooting at teams that make sense. If you have no one to shoot, then fuck it, right? Like, by all means, blast away. But like I said, I've seen it so many times where a team will be rotating, like, right under a team, and they're, like, looking at me across the fucking circle. It's just like, you have to focus on what's around you and making sure your space is clear. OMF Revenger, thank you for the follow. Yeah, exactly, Ashy. It bugs me so much when I get shot by some fucker from Narnia when there's people all around him. It bugs me so much. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? I want to just hop into their Discord channel and be like, yo, homie, pay attention to the people around you. Large Willie Man, thanks for the follow. But this is a bit of a similar example where they did not need to press the issue on this team back here. All you have to do is worry about your back. Once your back is clear, then start worrying about everybody that's in the circle. Dude, especially late game, because that's when people try to do really cheeky shit to make sure to make sure they get the jump on you like this. Doryu's team shouldn't have been able to walk in for free like that.
I still think we have second overall.
Because if they're all standing back here, or maybe if Madness is even up on the rock scouting real quick just to make sure, they could have even done that. One of them could have just climbed up real quick just to see if there's anyone behind them. And once they made sure their back was clear, then they should start fucking with that team. That, again, don't just go big dick on teams that aren't a big threat to you. Always, I say this in every video, always identify the most immediate threat, or the direction where the most immediate threat could come from, and make sure that's clear. Anyways, I think that's all that needs to be said.
Noko's team might take it right now, man.
Because that was a strong spot, man. That was a strong spot.
Either way, that was awesome.
Oh, good shit, good shit.
Yeah, any ammo?
No, you're good to get on. I have 160, you're chilling. I'm trying to get a backpack. There's an R301.
There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm trying to remember. Oh, this was the Overlook ending. This is the one that's out here, right? Like, I think Lou died up here. Yeah, this is where. This is the last game too, right? Strong spot. So they do have the benefit of being one of the teams that can rotate here a lot quicker. Obviously, there's probably a team in Overlook. Sometimes the team landing that lands here, I don't know exactly where everyone's landing, but the only teams they have to worry about are Overlook, obviously Epicenter and Refinery, and Survey Camp. Survey Camp actually could probably get here really fast now with the fucking balloons they got. But there's probably only like 4 teams, 5 teams maybe that they have to worry about. Probably grabbing all of the really like strong spots that they want to grab. I think most people would read this as Overlook because Overlook, I said this yesterday too, Overlook tends to pull hard later on in the circle. Like so many times I saw this circle where like it's like centered over something else and it just kind of goes like straight to Overlook. So I think a lot of teams will probably prep for Overlook. Overlook is also a very solid place to go to no matter what, because on the off chance that it's not Overlook, it's a lot easier to rotate out of Overlook, but if it is, it's so much harder to rotate late into Overlook. That shit is fucking rough. So it's usually never a bad idea to try to grab a building in Overlook to chill in early, just because it gives you more options later in the game than say like this elbow here is like good for Overlook, but say the circle's out here or someone, then you got to go a lot of crazy places. But a lot of the strong spots here are this res beacon area. This entire cliff side is huge. This entire north cliff side is really, really big. Wait, hold on, we can draw on this to make it look a little bit more official. Yeah, this entire north ridge line is very strong. This entire ridge line is very strong. Yeah, like right there. This one is as well. There's like that little zip. This one is really strong too. And then this area back here, almost if you get this deep back here, like nobody will fuck with you. You're pretty safe back here too. So these are probably like the really big spots in terms of the late game circle, because I do know it's going to end here. They obviously don't. A lot of their positioning is going to depend on where they think it is. But again, if you're never sure, if you're never really sure when you see a circle like this, but you want to take a strong position, not a bad idea to grab Overlook. Overlook does this kind of look like a face? Like a winking face with like, or is it just me? And now he's like angry. I don't know. Anyways, so if you are in this position, if you were looking at this circle with no idea what the hell the end circle is going to be, Overlook is always a safer bet. Because like I said, if it happens to pull Overlook, like it does, you'd rather be in Overlook than out of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get to this 2-story. If we get to that 2-story, we can win this game.
That is a good spot too, actually. That is definitely a solid spot.
I don't think it looks taken. Let's just fly trailer first.
It's not the strongest, but again, a lot of the spots that you see these teams take is going to depend on the spots where they think the circle is going to end.
Everybody's setting up Overlook.
Yeah, I think we stay Overlook then. I think we
Okay.
go Overlook.
Yeah, rotate back. Let's take here. Take here now.
Yeah. 100%.
This is also a very interesting thing about Battle Royales too here. And this isn't a bad call. Like I said, if you're not sure it's going to be Overlook, it's better to take Overlook than to not. But this is so interesting about Battle Royales, and especially prevalent in this game for many reasons. But it's this whole thing where like, there's a lot of teams that like will have a play in mind, and they want to go a certain place, but all of a sudden they'll see a lot of teams doing something different. And then obviously, if you don't have a Pathfinder, you have to kind of like read the other teams that do have a Pathfinder and see what they're doing, because they do know more than you do. But it's so interesting, like, this call is made, and it's not a bad one at all. I agree with it, but it's just so funny to me that we are like, the game genre that we're in is just like, a lot of people are doing this. Maybe we should do it too, you know. And like I said, it's a good call. It certainly is. I think it's better. I think I would take Overlook in this case too. But
Is it taken or not?
No, this is free.
it's just a very interesting, like, that's how you change like your mentality and your
You wanna get
strategy. It's
closer,
just
you wanna
because you
hold
see a
two-story.
lot of other teams also
Wait, I need
doing
help. I'm
it.
gonna need help with this.
It's
Oh, shit, I didn't know you were that far out.
what's that called? I know there's a name for that.
You're good. You're good.
It's not the butterfly domino effect, maybe.
Yeah, right here.
I don't know.
Right here. Just take this.
This building's free right now, I think.
Is it? Can you
Yes.
portal to it?
Yes.
I think you should scout on the map which beacons were used and how many teams are here. You can't see the beacons though if you don't have a path,
I pop one now.
so you don't even know what the beacons are.
I pop one out, dude.
Oh, I think a team just literally got here and they're taking it.
Okay. What about the one in front of us? What about the one right here?
I think it's free.
job. Yep, perfect, perfect. Huge. Good job. This side, you going here? They trolled. They actually trolled us.
Where's it going? Like there?
Yeah, but we're not in a bad position either way.
Dude, your fence is still standing back here. What if we go back here and take that back house?
That would be smarter for sure.
They're not in there?
Let me look.
Just you peek, you peek.
They could also be using my fence.
Yeah, they're in there. Yeah, no, they got Kraber.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Why didn't we hold that so bad?
Because we thought it was ending back here. So we wanted to be as close as possible.
Oh,
It's
so
not a
it's ending
bad
over
call.
this way, huh?
So, yeah, it's ending somewhere out here.
Yeah, but it still could pull a little more. I'm not gonna give up completely up on this circle yet.
It's Noko's team in there. Noko got Kraber.
No, yes, no, son. Please, dude. Give it out one more time, baby. Come on, give me that motherfucking ring, baby. Oh,
Not too bad, not too bad.
We play underneath first. We play underneath tops here. 100%. I think we get there early, man. I think we get there early set up.
Sure.
Are you sure? There's a team behind
Because
us.
if the team behind us comes up behind and fights us, Noko's gonna grieve.
The hermit crab principle. The hermit crab principle. Madness is setting up, or ready. He's keeping that in the back of his mind.
Kill these kids, dude.
Crazy idea, but what if we held height? This is slanted right here.
On top of the house?
Yes, the house is slanted
yeah,
down.
we do that instead. I think they're gonna try to do like. It looks like they're gonna try.
That's a
They're
risky idea.
looking.
There,
I just
though.
beamed them.
It is a crazy idea. It could work. It is a
We
crazy
hold
idea
height,
for
but they
sure.
have a higher height than us.
Yes, but it's slanted. They won't be able to see if you back up.
Okay, then it's up to you.
See, that's a Kraber. I think. I don't know. I'm blind.
I don't have any ammo. I literally can't shoot.
What ammo do you need? What ammo do you need?
I have light ammo.
Nice
I have
broken.
98.
They're getting. I'm gonna look for poke here. These kids are
Go
rezzing.
for it. Yeah. Did you come?
Yeah, I see a crypto drone flying around the tower.
Yeah.
Team on a right porting. I'm gonna get port here.
Yeah, go on
going
top. Take port on top. Take port on top. Yeah.
If they can get this rotation without getting
We go
fucked
late as fuck.
hard,
We literally go so late. No, we play the left side. We play the left
this is
side.
a really this is a
I know,
strong
but that's
spot,
just
but
for us
it
to
can be
walk up.
really risky.
Make sure no one tries to aggress on us.
If it works, it's a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
really
we
good
go
spot.
late as fuck.
Pay
If
attention. Ring.
someone does jump,
The reason I'm like curious, or the reason I'm a little worried of my why it might not work is if they back up a little too much. It seems like a decent amount of it is actually in, but like I'd be worried about the team maybe like coming out here a little bit into the zone to like poke up at them, or toss nades up at them if they don't have their ult down. But it can be a really strong spot. They might have to. I can't. It's hard to tell from here, right? What's in and what isn't. But I do like the call. I do like the call. It just can backfire from anyone that like wants to like wide peek and kind of poke at them. But as long as whoever's down here doesn't try to like be all fucking cheeky and try to shoot up at them, I'm thinking it's hard because I'm trying to tell. That they'll probably have to go into the zone and take probably 2 ticks to be able to shoot up here. So it might be pretty safe as long as they have enough room to actually walk around up there.
Right here.
Downstairs.
Downstairs. In the door. It's in fences.
It's
so
just it's hard to
sometimes
tell
they
from
come
here
through
because I don't
really
know exactly what's in and what isn't. You know?
Honestly,
It's hard
I
to
think
tell.
we should be safe to go now. I think all the teams behind us rotated out.
No,
like,
if they're on the
Let's go.
if they're on the roof, they'll be fine.
You got about
If
10
they're
seconds or so until it's about.
the team from the tower can't shoot at them. If they're on the slanted
Yo,
roof.
you need to send your ulti right here. On the backside. Right here.
Behind us! This team just zipped from right here.
Try to put it down.
Yeah, put it down. You're fine.
They're gonna grief ult. No, they're not gonna push. They're not gonna push. This should be free KP for us.
We're fine. Put fences everywhere.
A lot of it depends on just how much of this building, this rooftop is in.
Nice, good job.
Almost cracked this kid here. They're pushing up towards us. Oh no,
Let's get him.
killing me so fucking hurt!
He's one.
Really? That just really ate my shit, bro?
Behind.
He probably could have gotten that off. So a lot of the Watson ult eating your own nades is very dependent on the angle that it leaves from the ult. I think he actually could have thrown that nade just fine.
He's one.
I think it's because this angle from the ult is like a little. Here, let's slow mo this actually. All right, let's take a look at this. So he threw it from like this angle, right? There is a science to throwing ults outside of Watson's ult or nades. So he threw it at this angle. And the ult will eat it like every single time. It is a bit like far out of the range. I was surprised that it nabbed it this far out. But the way to do it, the way to get that nade down there, that if you wanted to be the one to throw it, if you're in this exact somehow position, is you just have to, all you have to do is move a little bit to the left and kind of like move to the left and then turn your body like to be like similar at a similar angle. The Watson ult doesn't eat ults, or it doesn't eat nades at a very sharp angle if you're like kind of in like the same line at which it would like zap it, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a better way to explain it, but I hope that makes sense. You know, like if this is Watson ult and this is you and you throw your nade from like here, then the ult won't eat it, right? If it's all in like the same line. So he could have actually got this nade off if he went to the left a little bit and like made sure his back was completely to the ult. No, it's not an angle. Well, it would be an angle perpendicular, I guess, to the ult if you're treating the ult like, if you're treating the ult like this, like that's like the angle, and then like that's the nade trajectory. Then yeah, it would be perpendicular. But I feel like that's not the way to explain it. We are doing geometry. That's what you get. That's the kind of coaching you get. Just saying. But so he could have actually gotten this nade off. It would have been a big nade too.
Really? That just really ate my shit, bro.
Also, make sure to crouch. It definitely has like a lot of it's like timer on eating your nades. It definitely depends on like, I don't know if you know this, but like it doesn't actually like material, like for like the first like quarter of a second, it doesn't actually like materialize in game, if that makes sense. So if he actually had like crouched too, he potentially like, so the ult won't eat the nade because it's technically not there. So if he had actually crouched, he may have been able to get that nade out too. The ult wouldn't have even seen it. You can see what I'm talking about right now. You can see it a lot when you're trying to throw a nade through like go on King's Canyon, go to any of those like wooden huts or houses and try to throw a nade through like the tiniest sliver of the wood. You can do it with any projectile in this game. And I'm saying like even caustic ult. You can throw caustic's, you can throw caustic's barrels through like the tiny like slivers like of the cracks of the wood. But you have to make sure like it happens within like the first like fucking like couple milliseconds, because like it's not actually there. If that make it's hard to explain, and I hope that makes sense.
Behind. One shot, kill him.
Dead.
Nice.
That's one.
Stay, we're good. We don't need to poke too much.
Noko's team's got Kraber on height here. It's ending tower. I think if we can somehow ape tower, we win this game.
No, we can't ape tower. We have to put underneath it. We can't ape tower. It's impossible.
That's really tough. You don't have if they had a Pathfinder, they could, but.
There's a team underneath us as well.
Wait, no, maybe that's not Noko's team. Oh, wait, they might be split. I think there's only the Pathfinder up there because his teammates are inside.
No clipping the grenades. Not necessarily no clipping them.
Crack that kid.
It's the game.
I can ulti them.
Yes, I think we ulti then go. Honestly, dude.
I ulti them.
I think it's a mechanic that's instilled in the game on purpose, so you can do like small things like that. So like your nade just doesn't bounce out of things. It would like normally like bounce off things. So it's like easier to actually throw nades and get them where you want.
They're cracked again.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of light. I got 20 light left.
I think we should.
I can't give you any more.
Yeah, it's too late now.
It's gotta put underneath.
Okay, what? Anybody got extra light? I got 20.
I have. I can drop you 20 more.
Okay, all right.
That's all I got though. That's all I got.
Same.
So you're sure you don't want to fight this team? No shot.
No, it's you definitely
Right.
you had
Yeah,
a potential chance, but it's
We just fight underneath.
no longer.
Okay, all right. Yep. You just gotta be
let me
careful.
take an ultimate
There's a full team underneath of us too.
Wait, no. Wait, do you want ultimate? You want your ultimate on it? Wait.
No. You're good. Take it. Madness, you're on portal, right?
No, I do.
I think you should put it on the backside left rocks or something over there. We can stay there.
This could be risky.
I
Ooh.
need to drop and come back.
Come back now. I can
dead.
bubble that.
I'm dead. I'm
No, dude, he has to bubble for him.
Take me.
Portal. I need you to portal. I need bubble. Please.
Cut me. You're good.
Oh my god, my anxiety, dude.
That's fine.
My anxiety.
Fight them. There's two teams.
Left. They're gonna move up.
Yeah.
Is that our ult or theirs?
No, theirs. I don't have my ulti.
Dude, I think we should go play under tower right now.
They fight us. One dead.
Dead.
Good fight. Yeah, he shouldn't have been so afraid to take that. They had that.
Come on, boys, heal up, heal up.
Yep. Oh no.
Oh, that was Frex had a little bit of a flip flop
Yeah.
Good try. We did our best, man. Honestly. Good job, boys.
Let's see what place we get. We got 4 points with 4 points with top 6.
Yeah,
So we might have held our second place spot.
Yeah, that's tough.
Or 1, depending, because PGV's out.
Good job.
Is that our ult or theirs?
No, theirs. I don't have my ulti. I don't have my ulti.
Dude, I think we should go play under tower right now.
They're fighting us. They're fighting us. One dead.
Dead. Dead.
Dead. All dead. Come on, boys, heal up.
Yep.
That's tough, man.
Oh no.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Good try. We did our best, man. Honestly.
No, Eva slaps. If you can hit shots, Eva absolutely slaps. I'm trying to see like what they really could have done better. So obviously, like this was sloppy. This was really sloppy. I think Matt just panicked a little bit here, but like so ideally in JB versus JB fights, as I've been saying, the team that drops their dome first loses, right? I think that's what Madness was panicking about here. I think he thought they had to dip, so he was making the call for them to leave because they dropped their dome first. But what I think Madness didn't realize is this team's not in, so they can't play their dome the whole time. And if they do, if they even take a tick of zone damage, it's a massive amount of damage. So this is tough because they turn this shit situation. I mean, they win the fight very cleanly. They get a decent swap off. I think they needed to prioritize not looting. I mean, obviously Madness needed to like get an armor swap. Like they're all relatively healthy.
They're gonna move up.
Yeah,
Is that our ult or theirs?
No, theirs. I don't have my ulti.
Dude, I think we should go play under tower right now.
They're fighting us. One dead.
Dead.
Like, look at this. Okay, this is like a pretty fucking clean sweep. Like, yeah, Wig lost a little bit. Macros on white armor, it's not ideal. But right now, like, honestly, like, maybe the only person that really should be looking at armor is either, like, Macro or Wig. At this point, like, you have to look and turn immediately to make sure, again, to make sure you are safe. I think they all kind of go for the loot a little bit, and then they start getting slammed, I think, by the team on tower, and then Frex's team comes up. But really, what they should have been doing, they just basically died to looting, I think.
All dead.
No, wait, let me... No, well, I think only Madness actually goes to loot. Never mind.
Come on, boys, heal up.
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I think the guys up top just scout. So they needed to like try to, I think, immediately like they had to have obviously known in the back of their minds that this team was going to shoot at them. I think they had to immediately just like forego a lot of the loot, at least Madness' side, or have someone grab them. But they needed to immediately, once that fight was done, look for a spot that's safe from these guys. Obviously, like they had no way of knowing Fresh's team was going to wrap around on them, so that was like probably bound to happen. But either way, this damage that they took here is pretty high. The guy, whoever is up there scouting, did a shit ton of damage, and they probably could have avoided. They probably could have avoided at least like taking a lot of that unnecessary damage and kind of seeing where they can go from there. Like almost even like I doubt it would be good, but like maybe even crouching behind this rock. But at this point, you got to say fuck the loot, and you got to like find what's safe, because they had to have known this team was going to start shooting at them.
Yep.
And with this team shooting at them, I mean, Frex's team obviously that like they could have won this fight, but they were already so low. Wait, Frex? Holy shit! Did Frex just... What happened to Madness' health there?
Honestly, dude.
I ulted him.
Oh, that's pretty far back, actually.
No, we gotta put it underneath. No, you're good.
Under tower right now.
But when you finish it, like, you can't be... Obviously, like, armor swapping is not a bad idea, but, like, definitely, like, sometimes, like, this late in the game, you just have to make sure you're safe and do whatever you can to do that. Them having to use, like, Dome in a really weird spot, I think they would have had to use it here no matter what, or Madness goes down, so eventually it actually worked. It was a very sloppy Dome. If you're, and I'm actually gonna go back and talk about that too in a bit, because it's very important. I think this is like some like just like the fundamentals of rotating with Gibraltar that people need to know. Again, I'm not saying they don't know this. Obviously, it's the heat of the moment. I'm saying just the general populace.
Come on, boys, heal up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's just tough. That's really, really tough. I think they made the best out of a pretty shit situation, but I do think they also, I don't see what would have been terribly wrong if they played. I think the initial call to play here was a little sus to begin with. I don't see what would have been bad if they just went kind of played underneath the tower, because no one's gonna push them because the tower's probably going to shoot at them if they try. I think that initial, I forget, one of them mentioned it. I think they probably should have played under the tower. But in terms of Gibraltar doming, when you are faced with this situation, oh my God.
Come back.
So obviously they know Madness is fucked here, right? Wig needs to take the initiative here, and like normally, like just don't think at all about what just happened later on in the fight. Like, there are so many times Madness should have died before he actually got to heal up. There are so many times. So the ideal way to play like a Gibraltar rotate in a really shit like situation like this is, once the portal's down, if the Wraith doesn't have to take it back, if you're portaling into the open like this where you're bound to get shot at, Jibby immediately takes this bubble and just domes right away. You'll see Madness right now, he's gonna go back through the portal. Maybe try to like, he's gonna try to pop a heal, but then he sees the zones moving. And then you see Wig like yeet the dome a little bit further out.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
So the dome should have been down by now. So when Madness took the portal back, Wig should have taken the portal up and then immediately domed to make sure Madness fucking survives. Because again, it ended up working, but it shouldn't have. It should not have worked. Like right here, I honestly feared for Madness's life, because I thought honestly the team up top was gonna start beaming this shit out of the portal. I'm like, my anxiety fucking went through the roof when I saw Madness come back to the portal and there was no dome. Ideally, you do want to throw the dome right.
I need you to portal. I need Bubble, please.
Look how many shots he's dodging, and then he eats it that way. Like, it worked. It shouldn't have though.
Left. They're gonna move up.
Yeah,
is that our ult or theirs?
No, theirs. I don't have my ult.
Dude, I think we should go play under tower right now.
That was a good call. Like, obviously they have to fight this, so this whole situation actually changes. I mean, it's hard to talk about what ifs and stuff like that. Like,
they're gonna move.
But look where their dome is now. Like, they have to play off the dome, right? Look where their dome. This dome is over here, right? If he had domed here, technically, because they, like, out of necessity for Madness's vitals, again, he dodged a lot of shots. If they had domed here, this entire area, actually, this entire fight probably doesn't happen. And, like, as soon as Madness heals up, they probably, like, you sit in the dome, you see what's open. I've imagined they actually would have gone under the tower if they had domed here. Again, what would have happened there, who the fuck knows, it's impossible to say. But definitely, if you are a Gibraltar in your team comp, or if you have a suffering Gibraltar who does not know or isn't as good at him, one of the biggest things you do when your portal is not in the best place possible is you always make sure your Jibby is about ready to take it and he's doming immediately after he comes out. Because Madness should have died right here. It's kind of a fucking miracle that he didn't. But
portal, I need you to portal. I need Bubble, please.
Like, Wig should have been in as soon as Madness went back. Wig should have went and domed immediately.
Fight them. There's two teams.
Wig wanted this spot, so this is why Wig pushed up to the rock. But I don't think that was the call. I think that was the bad call to begin with. I think playing underneath the tower was the play, and they had the best rotation there. They were literally right there. All they had to do was portal underneath it. But this was the call that was made. They all followed it, but I don't think it's the right one.
They're gonna move up.
Madness was basically dead. Frex's whole team was up there.
No, theirs. I don't have my ult.
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of this was basically a forced play that didn't like need to be forced again. Because first off, they should have helped Matt. Like, the longer you hold on to your Jibby bubble, it technically is better. But again, Madness shouldn't have been alive here. They should have bubbled back here. And I think if they bubbled back here, they don't run over this hill. I think they actually, and they would have backed up. Because you see Madness looking back at the tower.
Under tower right now.
Right there, yeah. You see Madness looking back at this tower. Right here, he jumps up to look at it.
They're gonna move up.
Yeah,
is that our ult or theirs?
No, theirs. I don't have my ult.
See, right here, Madness is looking at
the under tower right now.
So imagine if their dome was backed by their portal. I think they immediately would have gone for underneath the tower and played that instead. And I think that would have been the better play. So, but again, that's hindsight. We don't really know what would have actually worked. I think this call I think the call for this was bad, but it also was executed very bad, and it ended up costing them a lot. But the fight here was good, and they fucking clapped this team. So overall, pretty solid. Obviously, they didn't come out the win though. It's a little unlucky, but really good performance. Like, I loved watching this performance from the particularly from Madness and Wig, because obviously I'm sure a lot of people know. I'm sure a lot of you have watched Wig or Madness or some form of CLG scrimming when they did play together. You could feel that there was just something off, maybe like a little bit of animosity or something. So it's nice to see them. They played in very high spirits. They played very well together. They pulled off some crazy shit. Madness was, I think, the kill leader. It was nice to see them. If they had differences, it was nice to see them set that aside and play really well together. I enjoyed watching this VOD a lot. Very well played though, all through and through.
No.
I think they probably defied a lot of people's expectations.
Dead.
Good shit, boys.